Hope everybody is doing well. It has been a very fast-paced first half of the month. I don't know about you guys, but for me it definitely has been. I am gonna go ahead and switch screens for a second. Hello. And we're gonna do a tiny bit of maintenance live while we're on stream because I just noticed that my book appears upside down. So what I might wanna do, let me go ahead and shut this. This is my art fight sketchbook, okay? I might wanna flip this. So let me do that really fast and then we will proceed. So I'm just gonna go to transform, flip vertically, and that should do it. I want to say hi. Hi, Marcelo. Hello, Raincoats. Briar Rose, good to see you. The Cyan, hello. Welcome to the stream. Bingo Ned, good to see you. Wolf Dog the J, happy to see you as well. J1K, always good to see you. Cam, hi Cam. Happy to have you here. Dragon Box Star, of course, good to see you as well. And Random Bub, I know I said hi to you earlier when I was reading your comments. But yeah, so good to see everybody. I know we are halfway through our fight already, and that's crazy to think about. And I've got a lot of catch-up work to do. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm a little tiny bit behind on my revenges, but I have faith that I can catch them up. I have been in this situation before. It is not my first rodeo. It's my 10th year of art fight, so I know what to do. I know how to come back from this, and we're going to work on that a little bit today. Wolfdog the J says, I'm at 198 attacks. That is intense. After you hit 100, your main goal, the next goal is 10,000 points. That's impressive. Way to be setting those goals. I know I've talked a lot in my videos in the past about goal setting pre-art fight. When you're prepping to just kind of like prepare yourself to set up certain goals that will maybe incentivize you, that will help you grow intentionally as an artist, those kind of things. So that's awesome. Bingo Ned said, what's an art fight? Just kidding. I knew you're kidding. Raincoats, art fight's been going all right. It's a bit of a struggle at the moment. You have like 7 attacks you need to finish. Understandable. I'm definitely also a little bit underwater, but I'm gonna come back. Cam says, I've been way faster at attacks, with attacks than the last 2 years. In Dragon Fox, I've been loving all the art fight attacks lately. Everybody's been enjoying, and I don't blame them. Beautiful artwork of your character is always good, of course. Random Up, unfortunately, I've gotten way less attacks this year, but I've also not done as many attacks. Yeah, the ratios tend to rise and fall together. It's all. That's right, I have to turn it back down. I turned it up for the BRB, but now that we're back online, let's go ahead and turn the music all the way up. Or all the way down. Let me turn it down. I think the blur is a bit fixed now, says Marcelo. I think just bringing it closer to the book maybe helped with that because it was maybe just too far away, and that was only worsening the problem. But like looking at this, so I'm just going to show you guys real quick. We're going to page through a couple of these to give you an idea of how I usually draw, or what the final product kind of looks like before we get into like a new drawing, so you can kind of see where we're going, and then I'll show you how I get from start to finish. From there. So here are some things from 2024. This is my 2024 art fight. I did only traditional arts in 2024. I didn't even mix it up with digital. 2025, I mixed it up with digital, so we'll see some traditional in here from 2025. I'll let you know when we get to that part. But for the most part, this is a 2024 art fight book, and it's almost exclusively art fight drawings. So everything in here was drawn for art fight. I really love how these turned out. I'm genuinely so happy with these attacks and revenges, and I think it's worthwhile to continue doing traditional art fight attacks. So we're going to continue that legacy on this stream, and maybe after this is over, I will go back into YouTube Studio and trim out that like front part, because those first 20 minutes, that was no good, so we're going to fix all that in post. But you're here now, so let's keep going. And I loved these. These are like little Tamagotchis. They're super cute. Yeah, there's just a lot of variety here because I'm always pushing myself to try different things, and that's also an opportunity to like stretch your capabilities as an artist. I try to draw different types of characters, because characters I wouldn't design myself, that really pushes me as an artist too. So these are all standard kind of like benefits to doing art fight, whether it's digital or traditional. But today we're focusing on traditional. I'm usually setting up my streams with like it's all happening on the computer. We don't have any of those like technical difficulties because we don't have to work with the camera if we don't want to. Like I don't even need to turn this on, the face camera, if it's not working. We can just continue without that, you know, bulldoze through. But today we're doing it this way. This is the one that's on the thumbnail. So this one I'm really happy with. This was a full scene with background and all. I really liked doing the water. I kind of surprised myself here with the water because I wasn't sure if I even could make like a fish tank view. That's like where this kind of like the horizon of the water is. The fish tank side view of being underwater and above water. And so I was pushing myself there. I was really happy with the outcome. And I chose this one for the thumbnail. And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to challenge ourselves to do this year as well with art fight. Things I'm going to challenge myself to do this year with art fight. So we're going to dive back in here as we're doing our flip through. The thumbnail one is very good, Sister Marcella. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. The music is too loud. I turned that down. Let me know if it still is though. Fire traditional drawings way better than what I can do for this type of medium, Sister Marcella. It's a learning curve for sure, especially if you're used to digital. I was used to digital, did digital for like 10 years before I ever touched a sketchbook. Because I started doing art. I mean, like I doodled on my homework in middle school, high school, whatever. But I didn't start actually drawing until I was already in the Navy. And while I was in the Navy, I was, deployed on the ship. You didn't have a lot of space for personal items, so I had an iPad. And I just kind of got started drawing on an iPad. I made a little comic, a zombie chiefs comic based on like a zombie apocalypse on a Navy ship. And that's really where I got started. So I started on the computer, I started digital, started on the tablet, started digitally, stayed digital for like 10 years before I eventually decided to try to use traditional media, which is scary. You guys know if you're a digital artist, it's scary to try traditional because you don't have edit undo, you don't have layers. You can't just hide and unhide layers when you're working on paper. So there's a lot of different challenges when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. And we're gonna address some of those today on stream. But first we're gonna get through the rest of these. This was my last attack, this one with the fishy wallpaper behind it. This was my last attack of 2024. So the next thing I did was drew kind of like a picture for myself of my webtoon baddie, Marty from Venerable. So here she's like a little teen ninja, because Marty, I don't know, I was playing around with her name. She's not a teen girling ninja in her comic, but she is totally a badass. We love her. And then I went to the mall and I painted this with watercolors. First time really using watercolors since I was a kid and just making a total mess and not even knowing what I was doing. So that was that. But then we dive right back in. So only 2 personal art pieces, and then I didn't circle back until the following art fight. So here we go. Hello, Abomination Creature. Welcome to chat. Hello, Lancelot. Glad to see you guys. We're just paging through before we start a new drawing. Happy to have you here. Rainco says 3 of the 7 attacks I need to finish are traditional. Yes, do that. Mix and match. Mix and match. That's what I'm doing this year. I haven't committed strictly to anything. I am definitely just playing it by ear, and if I want to do digital, I will. If I want to do traditional, we'll do that. So that's how I'm treating this year. So yeah, this was my first one for 2025. And then we did this cute one with the Pikmin. And yeah, I was just having a really good time. Here's another one that I really liked. I'm gonna scoot this down a little bit so we can see kind of the tops better. Yeah, and we're just gonna keep going through here. This was like a Troll Hunter OC that somebody in my Discord created, and also a really big fan of Troll Hunters myself, so had to draw it. We get weird. Sometimes I draw very, very different off-brand things for me, like this sandwich character, but it was fun. Some cutie patooties here, some cat creatures. This one is not an art fight attack, although I did draw it in the middle of art fight. I did this for my husband. This is my husband's OC. So he wanted to get in on the art fight stuff, so I drew this for him. This was my Perfect attack for my husband. And then I'll scoot the book down a little bit here so you can see the top of it too. Yeah, so we're getting close to the end of what's currently in the book. These are a few more attacks from last year. You can kind of see, yeah, that was really the last one for last year, was this one. And then the only thing I've really drawn since was this piece for my D&D group, and I'll pull it down a little bit so you can see the top, and then I'll push it up so you can see the bottom. It was hard to fit all 4 of them in here, but I did what I could. So this is my D&D group. If you like D&D, like D&D art, I do have D&D art videos on my channel, including doing a digital poster of these guys more recently, and as well as making custom stickers for my party of their characters. So that's on my channel. We play a little bit of the gameplay audio in the videos as well, so you kind of like get to know the characters and see kind of the jokes and the fun and just the good times, and the campaign that we're running and stuff. So I did have my niece over, and she started this drawing the next page. We're just gonna flip through it quickly because I don't know how she feels about being having her work in progress shared. So we're gonna keep going. And then this was the start of this year's art fight attacks. Again, we're not doing like, I'm not straight up doing like a sketchbook tour here. We're not talking about every page, we're just flipping through. Here is another attack I did this year. This is currently up on my art fight profile because I have already posted it. And then this was the most recent attack. So we did a robot as well. I love doing at least 1 mech per year because I'm not usually a very mech savvy artist. And art fight's the perfect time for me to really push that boundary. So I tend to hold myself accountable for at least 1 mech per year. We are ready to start a new page here. So you guys have now seen through the book, through these other pages, kind of like how the final product looks. And now we're gonna work our way toward that, starting with a pencil and a character reference from Art Fight to Revenge, and we're gonna build our way up from there. Wolf Dog the J says your art is so cool. Thank you, I appreciate it. Keisha, hello Keisha, hadn't got the time to make more tags since you forgot that you had to jumping competition this week. I didn't know those were things, jumping competitions. So I need to practice with my horse. Oh, you're, okay. That makes sense, actually. I have seen that, horses that jump over the hurdles. Good luck with that, you know, stay safe and have fun. It sounds fun. Watercolors are pretty difficult for me, says Raincoats at times, but watercolor pieces can look so gorgeous. Yeah, I need to work with that more. I need to practice with more. Like I said, I just did 1 piece, 1 watercolor in this book. And before that, I had really only done 2 prior. And I was a child when I did it, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just using the art supply that, I don't know, somebody gave me for Christmas or something. So there wasn't a lot of thought that went into it. There wasn't really like, I wasn't trying to learn anything. I was just playing around. So I want to spend a little more time actually learning watercolors, for sure. And then colored pencils. I need to learn colored pencils. How many of you that do traditional art do it with colored pencils? Because I want to learn that. Like I'm gonna tip this. These are my markers. We're using these. That's what I used for all of those pages we just looked at. So that's what we're gonna be using today. Because I'm gonna like go with what I know. But I want to learn colored pencils. And I have tried 1 colored pencil drawing. So I'm gonna show that to you real quick in my travel sketchbook. So for the OGs that have been on this channel a while, you've seen my travel sketchbook videos. That one isn't done yet. But yeah, here's my 1 colored pencil drawing. And honestly, I'm really happy with it, but I do have a long way to go. I have a lot to learn. So this is a process, always a process. And we're gonna continue. Oops, I didn't mean to shake the camera when I set that down. That was a little bit of a mistake. But it'll be fine. The camera will settle. Sorry if I'm giving anybody like the jitters or any like motion sickness from that. It will stabilize, I promise you. Okay, that leaves us to really the next situation to get started. Before I can put anything on the page, I first need a subject. I need somebody to revenge. I'm not used to sitting this far to this side of my desk, so my camera of my face is a little off. Maybe I can just scoot this a little so it can be a little more centered. Hopefully that helped. I don't know if it did, but hopefully. We'll see. Alright, the water looks amazing. Water is so hard to do, says Raincoats. Thumbnail one is good. I did read that part, so I'm just making sure I didn't skip any of your guys' comments before we jump to the next screen. I need to get back to attacking, but you've been locked in on playing Devil May Cry. Yeah, it's so hard when you become fixated on like a new TV show or a video game to like do the labor of drawing, because it's fun, we're passionate about it, but drawing can also be a lot of work. The little amount of traditional art I do are colored pencils, says Wolfdog the J. I want to learn them. Raincoats, I use markers and colored pencils, I use pencils for shading. I've seen that! People who do, I watch a lot of videos on this too on YouTube, because I do try to learn through seeing it done. Like, I can't just hear how to do something, I have to see it, right? And I've noticed people will layer. They'll start with markers and then they'll go over it with pencils, and it adds such nice texture. You can get like a lot more vibrancy sometimes that way. I don't know, I need to learn it. That's a method I want to learn. I sometimes do colored pencils, says Marcello, but rarely, especially now because you're more of a digital and graphite person. Yes, okay, cool. So the next step then for this really is we're going to turn off canvas. Oh, we're gonna go to screen capture, turn off main display. There we go. Sorry for the flashing. I was having issues clicking. So now we're down here. We're gonna look at our list of revenges that are owed. And we're gonna do that by actually going to the Artbyte website here, and then we're gonna look at specifically, oh no, I think I have more. I have gained a new attack. Oh, that's exciting, but also that adds more to my list of things that I have to, revenge. Okay, let's look real quick. Let's take a look. Space Adventures in Space. Yes! They're so cute! Oh my gosh, look at that! Look at the pose. Oh, and they got the little rover bot too! Oh my goodness! Gosh, I love it. I love how animated it looks. This is amazing. Oh, this is so amazing. What does it say? I'm gonna lean off screen because I gotta look at it over here. Two brave astronauts and their trusty rover bot explore the mysterious environment on the planet Mars. The mission: learn everything we can and prove life outside of Earth is possible. I love it. That is so cool. There's like a cool tagline. They got all three of the OCs. Oh, it's so good. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I just had to gush. This is... I can't even type. I'm so excited. This is mind-blowing. I love everything from the style to the poses, the environment, and the tagline you wrote in the comments. The title too. Pure perfection. Thank you so much for choosing. I cannot spell right now. My goodness, thank you so much for choosing my characters. Oh, that's so exciting. I love it. I don't know about you guys. Wolfdog the J just hit 200 attacks. I do not know how you work so fast. I don't know. I'm not terribly slow, but I do have a lot going on. Not to say that you guys, anybody who moves fast doesn't. I'm not saying people who move fast don't have a lot going on. I know you guys are like doing full-time school and you guys are doing jobs and all of that. But like it's just been a lot this summer is what I'll say. And so it's hard for me to, even when I draw fast, even when I like use my like shortcut tricks that work for me, I still feel like I can do like 2, maybe 3 attacks per day on a good day. But that is enough to catch up, so we'll be able to do that. So Wolfdog the J is currently in chat, so I'm thinking let's open a tab for them since I owe them a revenge. We'll check that out. White West, are you in the chat? I know you're here sometimes. Let me know if you're in the chat and we'll open yours up too. The music is kind of spooky, says Raincoats. It's that Halloween in July again, because I tend to bookmark a lot of like spooky music to my my playlist, and then that's what we end up listening to on stream. Hello, hello. All right, Liquid Cloud, welcome to the stream. Lovely attack, lovely art style. I agree, that was really good. It's gonna be fun to revenge them. I'm gonna have to go through that person's character list and maybe look for a similar story-based character or characters, and then do a scene like they did for me. Because even let's go back real quick. Because even the background, like no joke, like this background, they paid attention to everything. Like literally everything on my character's like page, right? So here are the characters, my two characters. There's Emerald Bird, Noah A, the Roverbot. The Roverbot's down here. We have the Roverbot. But also, it's just a silly little, like they're trying to grow. They're planting eggs. I don't remember what the prompt was. This was based on a prompt at some point. But then this, like look at the background here for this piece of my little Mars people, my astronauts on this like hilly Mars planet, and then look at the attack. Look at the background of this attack. I mean, they paid so much attention to detail. I just appreciate that so much. It's so cool. Yeah, this is gonna be a really fun one to revenge. So, but I want to stick with my stream intention. So I'm gonna stick with a goal right now for the stream. So let's do that. And like I said, I opened Sea Wolf Dogs. We've got CJ's tab over here in the corner. Arista Satcharian, I don't think you're here either. I don't think you're in the chat. So Kai-san, the artist. Kai-san, I think I did see Kai. I'm gonna scroll back through chat real quick because I think I did see Kai was here. Kai, are you still here? Maybe I'm wrong. I see Arena. Hi, Arena. I don't see Kai. I think I imagined it. I'm used to seeing Kai here in chat, so I think maybe I was just basing my assumption off of historical context. Hello, Viscus is here. You're so scared you don't know why, says Wolf Dog. Why? Seeing my characters being seen on stream makes me nervous. Don't mind how you've drawn my OCs on stream before. I have drawn your OCs before. And on stream too. I think I have. June Pie is here. Cam is here, right? Or am I doing the same thing I did with Kai and just assuming Cam is here because Cam's at like almost every stream. You know what? I'll open Cam's anyway, even though they're not here right now because they might end up watching. Cam's here! See, what did I tell you? Cam, always reliable, always present on stream. We're gonna open Cam's as well. Artbreaker is not here, and Salted Gatefish is not here. I used to RP with Salted Gatefish. Amazing RP player. Really amazing RP player. Great characters too, so if you're looking for somebody to add to your like hit list, recommend. Lancelot? Lancelot, are you in chat? Let me know. Keisha! I see you. Hadn't got the time to make more attacks since I forgot that. That's right, I attacked you last stream. I think it was last stream I attacked Keisha's character, right? Am I misremembering that? I feel like it was. An Arrow Shark. I don't think I've ever seen Arrow Shark in a live stream, so that might not be somebody who found me through a channel, but it might be. I could be wrong. Maybe they have a different YouTube name. Abstracted is Abstracted here. Let me know and I'll open up yours as one of the ones we're looking at right now. But right now let's go over here to Cam's. And we're gonna look at characters for Cam. And we scroll past all of that stuff. I've already read this before. Like I've been looking at your guys' stuff. Even when like each time I'm trying to look for who I'm gonna attack next, I tend to like open a lot of tabs and scroll through and revisit until I eventually check the box that I've revenged you. So we have some characters here. I remember I wanted to attack this person. Spoiler alert. I wanted to attack your character here. And then you also included, I think this is cool. I haven't seen this before, like how people, like how you did this. I think that's neat. It's like a mock-up. But you also left a little link here, your Pinterest board, which I found really interesting. So like we have the character, right? But then you also created this Pinterest for your character. And the food thing really got my attention. Like they have favorite foods. And so I was thinking I want to draw them eating one of these. Like this was kind of like my idea. So we might try to do that today for this character. And then the other person we have open here is CJ. So let's take a look at CJ's characters too. Cam says, I'm here, Wolfdog. Let's see Cam's characters. Yeah, I didn't show you many of them because I knew exactly who I wanted to jump to, and I went right away. Wolfdog, I'm sorry, I'll breeze through this. I think I already picked out who I want to tag for you too. So this should be a really quick, just breezing through here, and then I should be able to just click on the character once I see them. By the way, this little permissions banner, super cute. Wait, why is it backwards? What? What in the world? Okay, hold up. That's good to know that I can fix that now. I didn't realize all the text was backwards. There we go, I fixed it. How weird. Yes, let's see Cam's characters. Uh-oh, says Wolfdog. I'll make it quick. Yes, I made sure to add credits, but the banner is so cute. Yeah, I love it. And I love that you credited it too. I think that's wonderful. We should all give credit where credit is due. Alright, so I'm scrolling through here. I love this cat. I know it's a real cat, but I love the cat. I'm not seeing the character I originally picked out. I've drawn Isabella for you before. I think I drew them, did I show them last year? I think so. I don't want to draw the same character again though. I like to spread the love. If I've drawn for you in a previous year, I try to not really attack the same character again unless you just don't have that many characters, in which case then it might happen. I don't like, so anything that's filtered, it's probably because it has some kind of gore maybe, because I've set my filters to I just really don't like body horror or gore. It's just not for me. So I tend to miss out on seeing a lot of characters or attacks that are flagged, that are tagged that way. But it's fine. I see this character here with the wings. I think we're gonna go with Hickory here. So, and like I said, if you don't see me draw it live, I reserve the right when I do draw your attack or revenge to change my mind about the character, because it just depends on what I'm in the mood for at the time that I'm drawing the actual attack. So Wolfdog says, you did, yeah, talking about the character I drew before, and you need a new reference for her help. I can't help you with that. You gotta help you with that. Oh wait, okay, so we have this character. It's got this cool eagle tail too, which I think is neat. And we have this one. So I'm gonna start with this because I already have a vision in mind. I already know how I want to draw this character. So all I gotta do now is pull back up the canvas. Hello, we're back over here on the book. And then I'm gonna go over here real quick to Pinterest. And I'm gonna pull up that Pinterest board with this stuff for your character. Okay. Now, how do I want to draw them though? Because you're gonna be eating this thing. There's a lot of ways I could draw this character eating this crinkle? Is it called a crinkle? Kringle? Is it kringle? Kringle? Is it kringel? Gel? G-E-L? How do I pronounce that? How do I pronounce this food? Alright, so pose comes first, and then we draw the character on top of the pose. And then we'll worry about coloring with the markers later. So first things first, we're gonna want to actually nail down our pose. And I think I have an idea. I think I do. I think I'm liking this one because it looks just so satisfied. Obviously I'm not gonna make it a burrito or whatever a burger. I think this is a burger. I like the face that looks so satisfied. I think that's cool. I also like this angle, and I like the hand placement a little better on this too. So somewhere in between those is kind of what I'm going for. I think I might even move my markers out of the way so that I can better reference my reference. I'll pull those back up when we reach the coloring phase. I'm gonna scoot this closer to me. Okay. Back to the sketchbook. Who's ready for this? Who's ready to watch me like sweat getting this sketch right? It is time to actually put pencil to paper and prove all that I've been talking about. Right, coming from another Estonian. Okay, so pronunciation is difficult to explain to anybody who isn't Estonian or Finnish. That's fair. It's also hard to explain it when you're typing. But yeah, it's pronounced as it is written. Gotcha. Okay. Hickory is cool. Draw her. I will, Wolf Dog. I mean, I think that's who I'm gonna draw. If we do it on stream, that's who we're drawing, because I already picked the thing out. So, let's start here. Now, because this character has the horns, I want to be mindful not to put the head too high up on the page. I want to leave space for the character's horns. Okay, so I'm going to bring the head down here a little bit. And I'm using a blue lead because it works a little bit better when it comes time to like get rid of all of my all my sketchy pose work afterwards. So here we have a circle. I know it's a hard to see circle. And also I just said I was going to put it at the top of the page, and it looks like I did. I didn't. There's like this much page still left up here. So let's continue from here. I'm going to bring the face down a little bit this way. Okay. And then we want to make sure for our Kringle thing, it's got a little bit of like, it kind of does look like a donut. It's a little bit bumpier, so we're not going to draw like a perfectly smooth donut. But spatially, I think we should be kind of like doing this still. Like that. And I know this doesn't look like much on camera yet because I'm drawing so lightly, like so lightly. But bear with me. Bear with me. Because we're gonna get there. We're gonna add some fingers here. So let's make sure we get like a finger here. That side, we'll do here as well. We'll let this one kind of like touch that one a little bit, and then the pinky can kind of come out a little wide and only touch like the edge like this. And then the thumb we're not going to see the thumb really, because it's going to kind of be like, it's just the way you would pinch, the thumb would be hidden behind these fingers anyway. Does that make sense? Like if we're pinching a food item, we're not going to see that thumb. So I'm not going to include the thumb on here. But let's do the hand on the other side. So this way, we're just kind of gonna hold this a little differently on this side. We're not going to make them mirror images of each other. This isn't going to be held exactly the same way both times. And it's not held exactly the same way with both hands in the reference either. Then, although I'm deviating from the reference here because I'm just drawing what I think a hand looks like instead of referencing the reference, that's okay. Sometimes you just kind of go with what you see in your head, and that's a little bit what I'm doing right now. Except I don't like the way the pinky went right there. I don't like using my pencil eraser because then I can't get it out to replace the lead. So I'm gonna have to grab another eraser. Actually, I have like another one here that's got some eraser on it. We'll grab that. Keeping it moving. We're not gonna throw ourselves off course here. We won't allow it. Okay, so then really the last step is to get that other pinky in here. And then the rest of the hand this way. I think that makes sense. And now we can start adding a little more detail since I got the pose really in place. The only thing that's kind of missing from this pose, right? Like we have the face, but we don't have any shoulder. We have hands, we have a face shape. We're lacking, so if the neck goes here, the shoulder will kind of come out here. Again, neck, shoulders like here. I don't like creating tangents, and we kind of just did like the knuckle to the hand here a little bit, because the shoulder kind of comes out just right behind it. It's just kind of the way it worked out spatially. But yeah. Right now, some horns up here. Let me know if you're able to see this on screen or if the page still looks blank to you, because I'm drawing super lightly with my pencils. I hope that it's visible, or at least visible enough for the time being. And I'm gonna go ahead, now that I've got my pose, I kind of can just switch back over to the character reference. So our character, and again, I'm gonna show you real quick. Here's our character. We're gonna draw, it has the 2 forehead horns. It's got bangs that come between them. And then it's got sort of like this mid-length hair. So we'll do all of that. The pretzel is different, says Cam. Could be wrong though. What did I miss? I remember my character is also very large, so yeah, the Kringle would be like a donut to them. I'm glad that worked out ratio-wise, like proportionate. It's very proportionate. It's good to hear. Okay, so let's keep going. We're gonna look at, so the forehead, I'm gonna look kind of like at a brow bone here, right? Like, let's just assume this is where the brow bone is. And I'm gonna bring up the horns from here. From the brow bone. We're going to bring these horns up from the brow bone. I'm going to slide this down so you can see a little bit more what I'm doing. Same thing on this side. Just coming right out of where the brow bone would be to create this horn. And now we can see like the tilt of the head as well from this angle. And that's gonna change, like, I mean, I can already see it from this like midline that I put here, because this is where the eyes are gonna go, right? Like, we're gonna have eyes kind of like here. Nose will come kind of between like this. But that means the Kringle is kind of covering the face too a little bit. Maybe I should rotate this slightly, give our facial features a little bit more height. And again, so the brow bone's up here, and there are eyebrows. And this character has very straight eyebrows. They don't have like a huge arch. So I want to be mindful of that. We're going to give them like a really nice straight brow that doesn't carry a ton of attitude. It's got like a very gentle look to it. I always see like straight brows as being like very gentle. I know in some cases it can look really severe, like the person doesn't emote, like maybe they're like a really emotionally mysterious character, but for the most part, when I see straight brows, I just see somebody who's like very gentle and you know, because we're so used to associating the big arches with like villains, and so yeah. I mean, maybe that's just my Disney influence talking, because I think like the Evil Queen from Snow White or Maleficent. Oh, is that the same character? That's the same character. No, Maleficent's from Sleeping Beauty. But they both have like those wild arches, right? Like they just have such huge, pointy, like sharp eyebrows. Anyway, so let's come in here now. Just kind of like trying to get my eye placement. I'm not worried too much about shape. I'm just looking for where should it be? Where should the eyes be? I'm thinking kind of like there. Which allows me to bring the nose up a little bit higher than what it was previously when I first started drawing, like in the sketchy parts. So here we go. And then that puts the food closer to like where the mouth goes. And I'm gonna like flip us back one more time. So I'm gonna look over here, not just at the character reference, but at the food reference too. So we're looking at the pin, not that one. We don't need that anymore. We're looking at this, the Kringle. I know there was more than one picture of it. So there's this, and I saw more. Yeah, there's more. There's like this one, just a little bit more the angle that I'm drawing at. So maybe I'll go from this one. Let's use this reference. All right. You got it locked in? I'm gonna switch screens. Is it locked in your brain? Let's go. We're gonna flip over now, back to the drawing here. And we're gonna try to like create these twists. Because before I was just kind of like drawing this shape like this. But I think we need to twist it, right? Let's twist this part too. And keep it coming, keep it twisting. Right under the fingers here. I'm going to bring this back over here too, because I want to make sure as we're twisting these that we're bringing the third dimensional part here, like this part. I'm going to go ahead and put in some hatching so you can see kind of like how that's, we're looking at the inside of the ring a little bit. And then we'll just continue bringing this around. And let's see if I can do it upside down. I think kind of like that, maybe, is how that should look. And then even here, let's keep in mind that we would see a little bit of that angle on this side too. It would come up a little bit more than I have it coming up. But yeah, something like that. I think that gives us the nice kind of braided feel, and what we're gonna wanna try to accomplish with coloring is the texture. So when it's time to pull out the markers, I'm gonna wanna make sure that I'm using more than one color for this. I'm gonna want like a light color, I'm gonna want like a more flaky baked color, and I'm also gonna wanna like create texture by dabbing that in. So like all of this, like, because it's not like even, right? It didn't just turn brown down here on the edges. We can see some of this like flakiness kind of like speckled in on the rest of it. So I'm gonna wanna make sure, you guys can hold me accountable when it's time to color, that we make sure we pick up on all of this texture and all of the different color tones. Because it's important, it's part of the character. It really tells us a lot about this character's origin and like, yeah, just their history, their favorite foods, and so it tells us a lot about like who they are as a character too. So yeah, there's just a lot that I want to. I'm trying to like fix the fingers here because fingers are they're getting to me. I want to make sure that the hand placement also doesn't just look atrocious. I'm gonna add like some fingernails here to try to like show the direction the finger is turning. Okay, there we go. Oh gosh, I forgot to turn the canvas back on. Once we have, and again, I'm gonna have to finish sketching in. I'm gonna have to finish sketching in the hair before we pull out, and we will pull out some ink to do some line art, and I think that's when it's really gonna show up super well on the camera. So just hang in there. We're almost to the part where this becomes super visible to you guys and can really, really, really tell kind of like what's going on. So first, let's start with these bangs. These bangs kind of like come in here like this. So I want to make sure we're representing that correctly. So we've got that going on here, but then the hair also very, very like voluptuous hair. There's a lot of volume to this, so let's make sure we are including that as well. It's gonna come around the face, right? Like, we know that already. So let's get that in there. And I like how in the reference, there's just like the way the hair is, it has these like sections in it where you can kind of like see like just these little gaps, so that it's not like perfectly, it's not like plastic, you know, it's not like the plastic Barbies, like the Barbies with plastic hair, usually the Ken dolls, where the hair is just kind of like one uniform thing. Here we have flyaways and we have layers in the hair. We can see those layers, you know, and I think that's important. Now, am I making it a little bit too voluptuous? Maybe. I'm gonna have to step back and see how we feel about it. So let me add like a little bit of like a flyaway there. We'll add a bump here and another bump here before we flick out the ends, because it's definitely got like a little bit of a curl on the ends of the hair. My hair's a little too long to do this, but like, you guys know, you know. I'm gonna move this over since my camera's covering it up a tiny bit. I did draw this off center. Like, we're looking at the whole page. It's really hugging this side and not like the interior here. So I don't know, maybe I'll do something with that to help with centering it. Like maybe I'll write the name vertically or something, just to fill in that weird space that I left open. And I gotta think too about what the inside of this looks like, because this character has on like a high neckline shirt. So maybe that's something that we would see through there, through the interior of the kringle. And then the shoulders themselves, my lead broke. Let's try to bring out some more. Shoulders themselves kind of like create like this V shape. So we're gonna do that here for the clothing. All right, time for ink. See, that wasn't so bad. We got there. We didn't spend that much time on pencil work. We're ready for some ink. Let's look at some of the ink pens we have. We have a 30mm, a 0.2, a 0.1. But these aren't my favorites. Where's my? I've got like this one. That's not my favorites. I've got this one. Also, not my favorites. My favorites probably got moved when I was doing sketches. This is what I do a lot of times when I'm not streaming. I'll take my sketchbook anywhere but my office, because if I don't want to be on the computer, I don't want to be on the computer, like at my computer desk with my sketchbook either. Like normally, I would want to take this downstairs, or outside, or on the go if I'm like leaving the house completely. So give me a second to look around and figure out. Oh, found them. Here are my favorites. And then I also have one of these because it always helps to have a white fiddly gel pen at the end. And I'm sure we'll see why at the end. So let's just keep going. How is the music treating you guys? Cam says also I forgot to draw a necklace on that specific character picture that you have open, but it's okay if you draw them without it. Oh, I didn't notice that. Where is, I think I have, let me go back to their thing. Look at some of the other references. I see like a pearl necklace thing going on here. I think we can make, well, no, the necklace, I would add it, but then this is actually covering it up anyway. The food stuff is covering it up anyway, so I think we're just gonna continue without it because I don't want to muddy the actual line art for the Kringle by trying to add, this is stupid, trying to add a necklace underneath. That's a little better. What about this one? These two kind of look the same size to me. This one might be a little thinner. I'm gonna go with my medium one here. Got some country music going on. Music is very loud compared to your voice. Ah, let me turn that down. Hopefully that helps. Also, maybe if I rotate my microphone, hopefully that also helps. Let's start at the top. Let's start at the top of the page and work our way down so that I'm not smearing. If I start down here and work my way up, I'm probably gonna smear the line art. So it just helps, general rule of thumb, if you're gonna do ink, to kind of start at the top. So I'm gonna do that. And these pens have a little flexibility to them, so I'm getting a little bit of line weight variance. I personally really like that. I know some people really prefer for their line art to be super consistent one width. And I see that a lot with people who prefer really thin lines, really thin line art. They tend to want to keep the line the line weight super steady, super consistent. I like some line weight variance, and I like and I do like to see some chunky lines sometimes. That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I just like a little bit of chunky lines. And these ones are gonna have to go over again because it's creating some streaks. So we're gonna do that a little bit. We're gonna touch that up a tiny bit. Okay, so this side ended up looking a little thinner than this side. So what I can try to do about that is just give the illusion that we're seeing the inside angle of it a little bit here, and then bend that out a little tiny bit, like this. Okay, and again, I'm going to continue to work from top to bottom. So we're going to start up here with this part of the hair. And another helpful tip, helpful for me, is to go slow. Not so slow that you're creating a really jittery pattern. You still want the marker to run smoothly. But if you go slow, you have more control, more control of your hand and where the line is going. If you're trying to do flicks, there's a time and a place for that. If you're flicking, if you want a really feathery look, or if you're trying to make really long lines and it's hard to hold your hand steady for that long of a line, then those faster hand motions help. But overall, I personally like to just go slow and steady. Let me know what your technique is. Do you have a technique that's very different but works really well for you? I hope the music isn't still too loud. You guys can let me know though if it is. Lancelot, hello! Lancelot says, I'm back and now I'm fully able to draw. Yay! I'm glad to hear it. Welcome back and have fun re-kickstarting your art fight activities. I'm assuming you're drawing for art fight. Sorry, excuse me. Raincoat said, if I'm correct, a crinkle is a straight translation to a pretzel. But then Cam said no, pretzel is different, so it's not totally a pretzel. right, so here we go. Let's get those bangs in there. I remember using this song, like, tangent for a second. I remember using this song on one of my camping videos because I recognize it from when I was doing all the editing. Because you hear, when you're editing a video, you will hear the same audio over and over and over and over and over again. So like if it's music, you're gonna hear that song a billion times. If it's like dialogue, you're gonna hear the same lines over and over again. Because that's just the nature of video editing. Yeah, so when I hear songs that I've used in past videos, it automatically hits this like nostalgia for me, but also kind of like brings back the feel and the tone of that video, because when I hear that song, I remember the tone of the video that it was played in. My voice is getting a little froggy. Raincoat says, I wouldn't say I have a technique. I just start with aligning at some point. See, my voice is getting so froggy. This seems to happen a lot on stream, maybe because I don't talk this much in real life. Like on stream, I'm trying to always be talking. I don't want to ever like just be zoning out. I want to be like active on stream. Excuse me. Then that happens, because in real life, I actually don't talk that much. And so my voice gets so froggy from talking on stream, because it's just not used to talking this much on a normal day. But you were saying you just start with the line art at some point and then try to go a different section so the first section dries. Yeah, that's also super valid. Just try to go another section where your hand is not gonna like touch the first section. Like mine's currently touching it a little bit, but once it's dry, it's kind of safe. It's you know, you don't have to worry about it as much. Right, so let's do this side now. And then I think before I finish the rest of the hair, I might actually dive into the face right now and get that face on here, because otherwise I'm going to continue moving down and the face is still going to not be done. So let's start with those really, really gentle eyebrows. We'll start there. I'm also trying to draw them like really thin compared to how I drew like the hair outline. Oof, but then sometimes that happens where if I'm drawing really thin, I'm not pressing very hard. But then if I'm not pressing very hard, sometimes the pen gets a little jumpy and it like creates this weird kind of bubble effect. Okay, let's try this side. Getting a little bit bubbly, not trying to. Now rotate this back. Yeah. I think we got there. We pulled it off. In the end, we got what we were after with the eyebrows there. All right, so nose-wise, I'm kind of gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna just try to keep the line very, very, very kind of thin, except for like the nasal here, like this part. And now for the eyes. I really hope these eyes are even, because I kind of just put them in as placeholders. I didn't really focus too much on how even they were or weren't. So I guess now that there's ink on them, we'll be able to really see that for ourselves. I don't know, I think it's okay. I think we're doing okay. So let's finish the hair. We'll keep it moving. Maybe get some water or tea at some point to relieve that frogginess. Yeah, I do. I should have. And normally I come to my streams with a drink already on my desk. Today I didn't, because unlike other streams where I just have to turn on the software, I had to actually play around with the camera today. So a little bit more time went into that instead of prepping myself. Like, I'm still wearing pajamas. I'm not really, I mean, I'm wearing a Dare t-shirt. I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see that I'm wearing a Dare t-shirt? I'm wearing a Dare t-shirt, which I kind of just use as pajamas now. I just sleep in it. And my pajama shorts. So I'm not even like dressed technically for a stream. I didn't really focus on what I'm wearing. It shouldn't matter anyway. I mean, you see like this much of me normally, so does the outfit really matter that much? I don't think so. I'm gonna rotate this around just to make it easier on myself to get this shape here for the hair. Do you guys rotate your canvas? Do you rotate your canvas, your book like this when you draw, or do you keep it straight and just draw straight? Like even the tough angles where your hand doesn't want to bend that way. Your dominant hand doesn't like it or something. Do you still keep your page like level, or do you move it around? I've always wondered kind of like about drawing with waffles and other traditional artists on YouTube, how like they draw without moving the paper at all. Like they just make it work without changing the framing of the page for the camera. I think we're ready for hands, so let's do that. You're also going to see like the top of my head a little bit too, but that's okay. We've already come to terms with this in past streams. We don't gotta revisit that topic. Liquid Cloud says, yeah, I move the sketchbook when I draw, especially when outlining, because you need steadiness for that. Agreed. That's exactly why I'm doing it. Like, I didn't during the sketching phase. Not really. I might have tilted it left and right a little bit. I didn't fully flip the book like I just did, just for some pencil work. But once you start with inking, for sure, steadiness is so important. Traditionally, at times I do rotate the page, says Raincoats, but not that much, to be honest. Yeah, some people just have a gift. They just have that gift where they can keep the orientation the same and still get good results. I'm trying so hard not to create like these wibbly wobbly lines here. Still getting a little bit of wibbly wobbly. It's so hard to be steady. We'll manage. We'll manage. It'll be fine. We will manage. See? That's fine. I am wobbling a little bit. Just a little. I think it's acceptable though. I think it's turning out okay. We don't gotta worry too much about like the lines damaging the outcome, even if the line art isn't totally slick or totally consistent. Like some of these lines are a little thicker than they should be from me trying to like straighten out the wibbly wobblies, but there are certainly worse things, you know? I'm gonna rotate again. I need to. Sorry for messing up the camera orientation, but we're just gonna rotate for a second. Just to get like that part of the hand. I'll put it back. I promise I'll put it back. Okay, I'm just reading comments. Making sure I'm not missing things. Dragonfox said, I like making smooth strokes that flow nicely along with a bit of line weight in places that need them. Yeah, there is kind of like a method to the madness, right? With line weight, it's not just like, oh, I pushed too hard. Usually it's not just, oh, I pushed too hard there. Like, yeah, with my hands right now, this right here, the line weight's all over the place. It doesn't look as clean as I would like. But normally what I like to do is like my interior lines, let me find a good example. My interior lines are pretty thin, but then my exterior lines are thicker. This is an example right here. So you see the outside line of the character here, the outside of the hoodie, but then look at the interior line. It's so much thinner than this outside line because it kind of gives them a little bit of that sticker quality where it has like just a bolder outline. It kind of makes them look a little bit, in my opinion, they look a little bit more confident, the drawing does, if you give that character that kind of that stronger outline, that thicker outline. It makes it pop, it's a little more pronounced, and sometimes, if done effectively, can make the drawing look a little more confident. I'm gonna keep going though. Let's try to get all of this line work done so that we can get into coloring the character. And also, I feel like, just kind of like looking at the reference, this character has some pretty solid eyelashes. And I feel like before I do the upper ones, I'm gonna wanna finish the rest of this line art. And then we'll figure that out. But yeah, let's do this. That came out a little neater, like that. Maybe this hand's pose was just a little bit more like friendly than this one because I'm not struggling as much with it. Maybe, just maybe. But I'm glad to have the hands done. Well, okay, now I'm glad to have the hands done. Time to work on this unique food type. So let's get these, the kind of braided effect of this food in ink. Let's ink it. Let's make it official. It'll be ink official. So I'm gonna come in here and just kind of like create these little dough knots, the braided twisted dough. And this, just bring it all the way around. We're gonna come full circle here. This is a full circle moment. There we go. And again, I'm gonna come in, I'm not gonna actually line the shading area, like this little cross-hatched part. We're gonna do all of that. We're just gonna have to remember that that's that way, that that's where the angle is, because I'm not gonna ink that. That's something we add back in with color. We don't do that with ink. And then again, we wanna make sure we get the face. Bring the hair down so that it actually touches. So we got some shoulders here, some shoulders here. Another tip with like brush markers is don't push pull. So like the way I was just kind of like pushing the pen up like that, technically it's not good to go that direction. You want to pull, so I should pull it down from the top to the bottom, because pushing, you lose more control because the brush has to like resist the paper. It will do whatever it has to do. Whereas pulling, it's kind of like pulling a paintbrush versus pushing a paintbrush. I know this is like, it's technically a pen. It's kind of felt tip, so you could get away with it. I just got away with it a little bit. But if it has like a little bit of a brush quality, like a brush pen, then ultimately you kind of want to be remembering pull, don't push with your pens, with your very inky pens. So always try to like pull down, not push up the paper. And sometimes you can still get that kind of like streakiness. creating like a line thickness I didn't want there. So now I'm gonna have to even it out before I proceed. These little mistakes though, I'm like telling you guys, I told you this would be a very revealing stream of how I do my traditional art. Like I make these mistakes all the time on every piece, but by the time I'm finished with it, with coloring, with touching up like the line weight, when I want to do like a thicker outline to kind of make the inside lines look a little bit more fine, all of that really helps to make a piece look stronger, more confident, fewer mistakes, because we're kind of hiding them by drawing attention elsewhere with a lot of these pieces. So, well, that's paint, not that one. I don't know. Let's look at this one. Actually, I don't remember making mistakes on that one, so that one's fine. But here you can see I really made this piece look a lot more like it pops off the page, almost like a sticker. This piece looks almost like a sticker. The interior lines, like look at her knees, look at the outfit, how like fine the lines are on these little triangles on her belt. The kneecaps are really finely lined. The necklace is finely lined. Yeah, all of this is very like delicate and detailed. And then the outside, I just went around with a much thicker line when I was done to make the whole thing feel like a stronger, more intentional piece. There were mistakes in here that you probably don't even see anymore because I hid them with how I colored it or with how I how I finished my lines. And I think that it really, like, the whole thing's a process, right? Whether you're doing it digitally or traditionally, every drawing's a process, but we get through it by making micro decisions every step of the way. Hands came out well. Those are always hard to do, says Liquid Cloud. Thank you. They were hard. Those were really hard. I wasn't sure how I felt about them as I was doing it. Ringcoats, for drawing characters, I don't rotate the page. I did read that, so we're good there. Yeah, I think honestly now I just need an eraser to... I'm like looking around because I want one of my big erasers. Give me a second. I'm gonna get one. I'll be right back. See if I can cover up my camera a little bit. Yeah. It's not in there. Go here. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Spin this back around. Okay. I knocked into the camera a tiny bit, but it will stabilize. We'll be fine. Now that I have this, my eraser, I'm just going to erase the blue pencil that we can still see. Just gently rub it all over the page until we see all of that come up, or at least see less of it showing through. I really shouldn't be shaking the camera because I have the camera sitting on a different tabletop. I think the book was touching it though, so that created some shake. I'm gonna scooch it a tiny bit, just make sure they're not touching, so it will shake a little more from me moving it, but should spare us from future shaking. All right, I think we're in a good spot here. He doesn't have irises, or what do you call it? You know, pupils. Yeah, irises and pupils. We need both. I feel like since they're eating the food, I kind of want the eyes to be looking more forward at the food. Not that I want them to be particularly cross-eyed, but... Oh, is this not going to come out? I might need to refill my lead. It's okay. We'll just use a regular lead for a second. I definitely used this song for a Halloween video a few years ago. But yeah, I think we can kind of just make the eyes looking forward a little bit. Like this. Because I want to kind of like make sure the character's like not looking at us, the viewer looking at them, looking at the page, but I want to make it more like they're looking at what they're eating. And to do that, kind of need to bring that in a little bit more like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's bring this one here. And this line's a little bit finer than the one I was using a second ago. Because remember I said I was using the medium one originally for the lines. But now we're using one that's slightly finer. And I'm just gonna let that dry for a second, and then we're gonna erase the pencil marks I put there for the eyes. And honestly, this is, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty simple bust of the character. We just need color. Picking colors is also, can be fun, or it can be very tedious. It really just depends on your mood, I think, when it's time to pick colors. So I'm gonna move my reference back over because it is time to pull the markers back up on my desk. And we will do that. Ta-da! My marker case. How do you guys keep your markers? Do you keep them like in the original box they came in? Do you keep them in, I don't know, how do you guys store and use your markers if you use markers? Or if you're using colored pencils, do you keep those in the box they came in? Or do you have a different way of storing them where they can be accessible? It just occurred to me I also need my swatches so that I know what these colors look like. Okay, that's my fish tank. I have a fish tank back there. Swatches. Swatch card 1. Whoops, shook that again. Swatch card 2. And we're gonna use these to kind of find our colors for our character. These are really racers. I've got Snoopy, got this cute little boba. And we're gonna look at these cards and pick out some colors for this character. They're actually, so if I flip this back over real quick so you guys can see the reference, their colors are actually really muted. They don't have very vibrant or like super saturated colors. Raincoat says, I have a big pencil case and a smaller one for your markers. Sorry, that's a pencil case. Yeah, that would work too. That makes sense. Liquid Cloud says coloring is always your favorite part. Hands came out so well, thank you. Yeah, coloring is kind of what brings the whole piece together, so it can be a really exciting part, I think. So let's pick out some colors here for this character, because we know for sure that we're using the markers. We're not gonna like, I'm not gonna try testing myself while live on stream with a new medium because that takes time and I don't want to waste your guys' time. All right, so I think for skin, I really like this honey color. So I might pull the honey. Oh, you can't even see the, okay, make sure you like print this on your brain right now, the reference, okay? Print the reference on your brain. Now we're gonna come back to the cards. I'm thinking this honey color for skin tone. It's kind of like this pinkish vanilla, but the problem with my pinkish vanilla is I think it's actually dried out. Let me see, like here's the honey. And my pinkish vanilla is right here. And I'm pretty sure, let's take this out and let's like dot, dot, dot. No, it actually works. It's not dried out. That was the pinkish vanilla? It is. Okay, so we can use these two colors. Pinkish vanilla and the honey can be like for shading. So we've got those two. And then the shirt is like this really, kind of like this bronze green that's right here. So let's try that. Let's try a bronze green, which is right here. And there is, like, of course, the V shape has the overlapping dark brown color. I think burnt sienna would look good for that. Let's try the burnt sienna. Oh gosh, it's kind of hard for me to see these. I'm going to twist it a little bit. Might cast some shadows, but I'll move it once we're done color picking. Burnt sienna. Okay, cool. So we got that for the brown, like, V-neck thing. The hair is so light, like such a light color hair. I feel like that's going to be hard to do. I think maybe this like BG038 cool gray, like the lightest gray, and then maybe shading it with like the 42, the next lightest cool gray, is the way to go. Because it is a very cool tone, like white hair, versus being like a warmer tone like this warm gray, which is kind of pastel-y paper, I don't know. But yeah, let's grab those two grays. We want cool gray 38 and 42. So here's 38, and then we just need cool gray 42. That's good. And that leaves us with, the eyes are the same green as the shirt, so we're going to use the bronze green for the eye color. And then the kringle. I'm going to save that for last. I think we'll pick color for that separate from these. We'll come back for the food colors, okay? Let's just start with these, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we've got our colors. We've got our swatches. We've got our color situation going on here for everything minus the food. All right, move these. And I have a reference on screen, so we can do that. And we have our sketch, of course. So, oh no, I touched the camera stand again, so now it's shaking. I think I'm gonna start with this green color because I didn't pick a shade color for it. I think we're gonna do a solid on this, and the reason why, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be with this white Rolly gel pen. And the reason why I say we're gonna do this instead of having like a highlight in a shade color is because if you look at the reference here, there's this really intricate design pattern on the actual wardrobe. And I'm going to make that pattern with the white Rolly gel pen on top of the solid green color. So that's gonna be my goal, my plan there. So let's go ahead and start with that. We'll start there. And then we'll work our way out from there. The permanence of marker makes me too scared to use them, says Briar Rose. Yeah, I feel that. I was kind of that way at first, but I will tell you what, my ability to have the patience for something like colored pencils is, I feel like that's some next level stuff, having the patience for colored pencils. I do not have the patience for that. It's something I am working on. I am trying to get there to a place where I have colored pencil layering technique and patience, the patience to actually do that. In the meantime, markers are my favorite way to color my traditional media, because paint's also not something I understand yet. I did try a little bit, and I'm going to continue to work with it, just not in the middle of a stream, because I don't want to do discovery on camera, because I just feel, while it might be interesting, you guys let me know, what do you think? It might be interesting to kind of like see somebody make a lot of those beginner mistakes and come to those realizations like live, kind of like have that learning moment, that teaching moment live. It also comes with the drawback that it can be a really time-consuming experience. Like, it can take a lot of time to get through those like teaching moments. And I just don't want to make the work I do on stream that slow. I like being able to get through things pretty quickly, or at least quickly for me. And my idea of what quick is. Because I want to make sure that I'm delivering while you guys are giving me your time. I don't want to spend a lot of your time on a stream and not be able to get to a finished product in the same sitting. Like, I want you to be able to start a picture with you guys and finish that picture with you guys still in the room, you know what I mean? So that's kind of like my thought process on that. But you let me know, like I could be in the minority there. Like maybe you guys do like being around and present for those learning moments, for those mistakes and those teaching moments and the aha moments. Like maybe I'm trying to learn watercolor and then you can see like, oh, I used too little water, or I used too much water, or I didn't understand like when to do it while it's still wet or when to do it when it's dry. There's a lot of different things to consider when it comes to a lot of different mediums. And so it's all stuff we learn, usually slowly. That's why I tend to save that for like my personal time. What do you guys think? Lancelot says, I feel like this could be a cool project outside of Art Fight season. Yeah, definitely outside of Art Fight season. I don't want to experiment with that much during Art Fight because again, Art Fight also is a timed thing. I want to make sure I'm using my time wisely. Although I do promote and stand by the idea that that is the time to experiment and try different things. But I do that by trying different kinds of characters that I wouldn't try on my own. By trying, I colored the hair green. This shouldn't have come up that high. No. Oh no. These are the kind of mistakes I make that I hopefully am able to hide later. It's gonna be so hard to hide that with the fact that his hair is white. If his hair is black or like a dark brown, I could hide that. I guess I'm gonna have to use a whiteout pen to hide that. It might take, I'm currently using the blender brush to try to like blend it out to get rid of this color right here where it should not be. Because that's definitely supposed to be his hair. His shirt doesn't go up that high. So I'm just gonna keep running over this and hoping that I'm running it over. I'm backing up the car and I'm running it over again just to try to get this color, this pigment out of the page. Let me try the other tip so I'm not like dragging the line art into it. I'm like really wearing up the paper though by doing this. I also forgot, there's bleed. Guys, I'm making all kinds of mistakes. I forgot to put a piece of plastic under here so that we don't get, and that's only because I'm trying to work this out. I'm gonna have to fix that last time. I've done this before. I wanna show you how I fixed it. Not by whiting it out, because that doesn't allow you to put new color down on top of it a lot of the times. What I did to fix this problem last time, I forgot to put plastic under this drawing. This one bled onto this page. So what I did was I drew smaller things instead of doing one big character and then having all those bleed marks in the weird places. I drew smaller characters around where all the little bleed marks are, like bleed marks here, up here, whatever. And then I colored in the background, like colored the whole thing in to kind of like just blend out those bleed marks where they were not that important. Like it's all underneath this background stuff instead of being on the characters. So I can work around a bleed mark. Like that's not gonna stop me from using this page. This page will not be wasted. But now that I caught it, I don't wanna keep doing it. So I'm gonna put a piece of plastic under there and then we can like continue. Or you can go back digitally to edit it. Yeah, you could also try that, like digital. I did not think that was the I'm having such a hard time with this now. I didn't think that was the color I had in my hand. All right, this is definitely, this color is just too dark, and then I just accidentally added it back in on an already blended out piece of the page that's like deteriorating the more I mark it. So I'm gonna have to white that out to make it part of the hair. We'll come back to that later with some whiteout. I have whiteout like right here, but I'm gonna let it dry first. In the meantime, let's actually finish this green here for the neck of like the high collar of the t-shirt. I don't think it's a t-shirt, but you know, the high collar of the clothing. So let's do that. And then we will Cam says, as someone who is relatively decent at using watercolors, a lot of the watercolor process is just waiting. I believe it. I believe it, because there is, with traditional media, you don't have layers. And so you have to let paintings, specifically paintings, especially paintings, dry before you add like the next layer. Because yeah, you can't separate them the way you can do digitally. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and color this eye with this nice beautiful green. I'm gonna do that same thing over here. And then we're gonna pull out, is this dry yet? I think I'll wait a little bit longer. I'm gonna let this green really truly dry before I start adding the whiteout pen into that specific pattern that's on the character's clothing, which means while we wait for that, we can go ahead and move on to a different color. I think it's a good time to do the skin tone. I do have the pinkish vanilla for the base, and then for shading, I have this honey color, so we're gonna do that. This will also be a chance to kind of show some blending with markers, and it's the opposite. The markers are the opposite of paint. If you want to color with paint, you kind of need to let things dry, unless you are blending, which then you have time, right? But with markers, you actually don't have a lot of time before the marker dries on the page, especially with really porous paper that absorbs a lot of ink. Your window to blend is very short, so you got to really do it while the marker is still wet. So like a good example of that might be, let's take this, and I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna just add this shadow color. I'm gonna add it on first, and then I'm gonna add it like up here too, just around where I think the contours of the face would be, right? Now if I wanna blend that out, now is the time. I don't want to finish coloring the whole face and then try to blend it out, because it'll already be dry and it'll be a lot harder to break that like really firm line. If you really wanted to have like a gradient, you come in and you start doing that blending while it's still wet. So like I'm doing right now, I'm letting this, I'm really trying to blend it, and I'm using like this nice circular stroke to do it, to bring that into more of a gradient instead of like a fine line. Now the bottom of the nose, I like it being a fine line, so I'm actually gonna leave that. I think it's great the way it is. But then for something like this, the top, I just kind of like to blend that out a little bit. It might not be super noticeable right now, but this is how you get really good gradients. And I have like, for example, where's that snake? It's further back. So if we go back to, I mean, this is a good example too. Look at this green to light blue. This is blended out. These are two different markers, and I create this gradient by blending them while they're still wet. But a really good example of it, because you have some really high contrast colors, is that snake, which he's here, Mango. Mango the snake. These are some very different colors. They're not just two shades of the same color. It's not like two pinks. This is green and yellow and orange and red. And so we're able to really see the way that that blended, even yellow to green here, has a gradient. Our yellow to orange is gradiated. Our orange to red is gradiated. Even here, like from this light green to this darker green, because I wanted to put shadow as if it was going behind the body of the snake, to this darker green tail here. So we have like this dark green to light green blend happening right here. So blending with markers, definitely gotta be quick. Gotta be so quick, because otherwise it's just really hard to get those gradients. So I'm gonna come in here and just kind of go over that a little bit more. And same thing over here. Trying to get rid of that like hard line there so that we have that nice gradient look, so that it looks like the nose plane really does have some contour to it, some shape. Cam says, I think drawing a blackbird on a rat on the shoulder where that green spot is might help cover that up. I don't know if a bird or a rat would make sense in such a small space, then they would be like miniature birds or miniature rats. That's such a tiny space. Liquid clouds is really nice gradient on that snake. Thank you very much. I was very happy with that, especially since that was in 2024 when I very first started this sketchbook and I very first started using markers. Because I actually did not know. I did not know any of this. I had seen it done in videos by creators I like to watch. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, that's how they said they did it. Let's see if it works for me. And I just tried it. I didn't know if it would work or not. I hadn't even used markers before when I started this book. I was just like, it either works or it doesn't. I'll learn it as I go. If I make mistakes, then I make mistakes. And if I did mess up, which I luckily didn't, but if I did mess up a character, because again, this is an art fight sketchbook, those were all art fight attacks, I would just draw you a new one. I wouldn't submit something that was like really jacked up. If I made mistakes, if it didn't look good, if it turns out like, oh, I'm bad at markers, maybe that's something I'll practice on my own stuff, and then I would have redrawn the attack and given you something good. I'm not gonna just submit something just because I did it. I'm gonna make sure that if I'm drawing it for another person, that I'm proud of it, that I think it turned out good. But yeah, this is the part I think for this stream that most of us were looking forward to, especially when I was talking to other folks in prior streams about having a traditional art stream. I think this was kind of the focus was, all right, well, how am I getting these colors to look like they do? How do we draw? Because we all kind of, the poses are drawn the same way on the computer as they are in this book. I look at a reference, I sketch out the shape, the proportions that I want. All of that is the same. None of that changes. But then what changes is like, how do I do the inks when I don't have layers? You know, you kind of got to live with your mistakes without layers. I can't edit undo, so I got to live with that. And then most interesting of all, I think, is probably the most interesting part of all, is this right here. Like, how am I doing my colors? And that's what I wanted to show you guys. That's why we're having this stream to begin with. So I'm just gonna blend that out a little bit. This shadow, I just put, it's like a drop shadow, a cast shadow from the hair itself. And I'm just gonna try to create a little more of a gradient there as well, soften that shadow so it's not too harsh. And I also think with the highlights of the cheek, we can actually kind of dance around that a little bit. We don't have to color that in fully. Now, do I want to leave the cheek highlight like this wide? Probably not, but I'm gonna like slowly close it in because I can always add more. I can't take away, right? I can't take away the color that I put on here. So that's what I'm gonna try to do, is work my way into it. Like slowly kind of like bring it in, you know? So let's go ahead. And now that I've given this under nose shadow some time to dry, it's probably not gonna blend. Even though I can go over it with this color, I'm not gonna get a good gradiated blend, which I didn't want. I wanted the shadow under the nose to be more of a harsh shadow. I wanted it to have a more solid line. And I can even reinforce that a little bit by coming back in and just giving it a little bit of an extra layer, like just layering that in a little bit more so that it can really push home that I wanted that to be shaded. Now we're looking at the fact like the cheeks are a little bit too bright. It looks like we've got like some light burn here from like an overly bright lamp, like light on the face. But I am gonna blend that out. So let's try doing it with this blending marker. And what we can do here, well, actually that one's not gonna blend for me. Let's try, where's my cards? Here we go. We can try this warm gray. I think this barley beige might be better if it's not dried out. My lighter markers tend to dry out faster. Does anybody else notice that, or is that just a conspiracy on my part? Do I just believe that and it's not true? I'm gonna grab this barley beige color. I am pretty convinced that that is true. I think my markers dry out really fast if like the lighter colors. Barley beige, where are you? There we go. Got it. Let's see. Let's see if I'm like right about this, or do we have... No, this has some color, but it's also like way more saturated than this makes it out to be. Yeah, this is rose beige, that's why. I picked the wrong color. I saw beige, I jumped to conclusions. This isn't the right one. Kind of like the way it looks though. It's kind of got a nice contrast to it. Let's try again. Barley beige, where are you? This one actually says barley beige this time. Let's try it. Let's see how we're... So yeah, that looks basically like there's nothing there. I feel like this marker is completely dried out. I can try to create some blending. I think it is getting the page wet, so at the very least, we're gonna see some inkiness to it, and then I might be able to like come in and just sort of blend in the pinkish vanilla color a little bit. So I can kind of like just blend this in a little. Because like I said, it's still wet. We're still seeing like some tone here, some color. And then I'm just gonna pick this back up and try to blend that a little bit. I haven't really tried blending with a marker that's dried out or it's lost its pigment, so I don't know how well this is gonna work. But, you know, we can try it. I'm gonna, honestly, I wish I did have one that was just slightly lighter than pinkish vanilla. Like pear color, but I think that one's dried out too. Pear, let's see. Do we have pear color? This is where experimenting on stream actually does kick in. Because not all of my resources are in good working condition. And this is where we just kind of figure that out. We're just kind of like learning that the hard way. So not everything is smooth sailing all the time. Like even this part of the process can be a little bit educational. But the good news is if I decide I don't like it, and that honestly just smeared some of the black line art. I forgot about line art being easy to smear. That's honey. We don't want honey. We want pinkish vanilla. I can just kind of come in here and try to like add some actual color with some pigment in it and blend that out, which is what I'm going to do here. And I can ultimately, if I decide like this cheek highlight's not working, I would rather just add it back in with you know, a Rolly gel pen afterwards. I can also just kind of like do that. I can kind of close this up like this. If I decide like that's not really working for me, I don't like how it looks, you can just sort of close that gap a little bit there. And I think I will. I think I'll just work that out, because it's really, what's getting me isn't so much that I can't blend with, because I don't have a lighter color that still has pigment, because all of my lighter markers are getting kind of dry. What's getting me is the smearing from the actual line art. That's what's getting me. That's what I gotta watch out for. That's gonna become like my new like attention to detail. I gotta be cautious and pay attention to that, because I'm definitely seeing that being a problem. So that said, I'm gonna move both of these out of the way because those aren't what I'm trying to use. I'm gonna start with a shade color again, and I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna shade this part, the inner side, the inside, the inner side of the horn here. And then I'm gonna do kind of the same thing. Whoops, I got a little bit of the eyebrow. A little bit of the same thing here for like a drop shadow from the hair thing, right? From the bangs. And before I start blending that, I'm gonna try to blend out the piece that got on the eyebrow. Reason being, remember, the hair is a really light color hair. Okay, so that said, I think it's okay now to come in here and just kind of just try and create some nice solid skin tone color here. And we'll do the same thing on this side. I'm using the chiseled nib instead of like the fine one because I'm coloring a lot, I'm covering like a lot more surface. So instead of doing like the circular motions that I was doing with the fine nib, I'm using like strokes with the chiseled nib. We still gotta do the hands. I forgot about the hands. Okay, let's get those going. I'm gonna start with, again, the shadow. And you can start with you don't have to start with shading. I'm just doing that this time, and sometimes I change my mind and I start with the main color and then I add the shading. If I wanna blend, then I have to still go back with the main color, like the base color, after adding shading to blend it out. But sometimes you don't wanna blend. Sometimes you just want a solid color, right? Like sometimes all you really want is, like I said with the nose, you kind of just want like a really strong line to create those shadows. You want like a strong demarker or something. Sometimes I don't have the words, but you guys know what I mean. I trust that you do. I trust that you know what I'm saying, that you'll get what I'm getting at. I'm not gonna try too hard to blend with the hands here. I'm actually quite happy to have those like strong lines. I don't need them to be super blended or gradiated here for my shadows on my hands. So we're just gonna go ahead and fill this in. It's not quite the fill bucket method, but the chisel tip does let you kind of speed up the process a little bit when you have enough space, when you have room to actually put down some much bigger lines. Can be streakier though, so sometimes you just gotta like go over it a few times. But it's not a bad look. So let's finish this up and we can move on from the skin tone. I don't know if this character has their nails painted. I'll have to check that before I color in the fingernails. I don't know if they're going to be just like regular nail tone or if they're going to have paint on them. I'm not sure. So we'll check that detail before we commit to anything. And you can also layer, like, see how as just a natural outcome of me going over the same spot here with the hands a little bit, we're getting kind of this dimension a little bit, like where the top of the hand that's holding like this part, the top, is a little bit lighter than the back of the hand. Same as with my hand right now. Like my fingers here look like they're lighter because there's more light on them. And the back of my hand is darker because it's in shadow from the angle. This is not a straight angle. It's, you know. So same thing here. I didn't use a different marker to shade the back of the hands from the fingertips. I just used layering of the same marker. I layered the fingers once. I went over them once with that color and then went over multiple times with that color on the back of the hands to create more, a more concentrated area of ink. It makes it a little bit darker because it has a little more pigment. That said, I think we can kind of wrap right now. I won't put them away completely because we might want to come back and do something about that nose. It looks like it's got like a streak of, what do you call it? Like a streak of sunscreen on it. I think I will very quickly just kind of bring some color to that so it doesn't look so suntan lotiony. Okay, now for the hair. Hair is really fun. Hair can be extremely, extremely fun. Did we lose our music, or is this song just really quiet? I think we lost our music. So let's kind of start back at the top. Hair can be really, really fun. Like I said, we're going to start with our lighter gray. And one of the things I picked up on from watching other content creators create their drawings is this this U shape you make when trying to make highlights. So you just kind of make this U shape, and then you bend the color back towards it like that, right? And now I'm just going to color this in. And this has nothing to do with shading. Like, I have a whole different marker for the hair shade part, and we'll get to that. This is just about creating highlights with the base color, and that's through negative space. We're going to use the negative space in between these two U's that I made as a highlight. It's going to leave the page, like the white page, blank in that spot, and it will create a highlight on its own. It'll automatically be highlighted through negative space, through the lack of color that I've like carved out in that area. And then everything up here, or around it, everything around that shape will get pigment, base color pigment. It's my base color. And it'll still look like it has a highlight. Love it. It's such a simple little thing, but I've seen it done in a lot of traditional art. I do see it occasionally in digital art too, but there are so many ways with layers to do highlighting in digital that I don't see this used as much as with traditional. But it really does the job for traditional art. So, and then I'm gonna continue this same shape, kind of like, you know, across horizontally, because the light's kind of gonna hit the same spot, right? So we're just gonna keep making this U shape like that all the way across. And we can do multiple areas of highlight. It doesn't have to only be in this horizontal lane. I can do a secondary lane of horizontal highlights like further down, like down here. But let's go ahead and color in this top part so we can really see it. And this isn't even a dark color. Like, this would be really obvious if I was using like a dark brown or a red or something. But we'll be able to pull up more of this color with the dark, like the medium gray that we're gonna use for our shadows. On top of this. Remember, this is just our base color. This is a base color for hair. This character has white hair, but we imply that. We imply white with just really, really light color markers. We don't actually have to draw, or just leave it paper white, because that it doesn't do much for us, does it? It doesn't add much detail, it doesn't add much dimension if we just leave it paper white. We could, and then I could color the background around the character, and that would help it also pop off. That's another way to use negative space. If you really want to leave the white hair of a character paper white, a good way to make that stand out is to just go around them with like a really high saturation, high vibrancy color. So yeah, that's just another way to pull off white hair. We talked about this on stream within I would say the last 2 streams for sure it came up. And we did talk about this at some length, about how to color solid black hair, like hair that's black, how you sort of cheat the black color. You don't give it like total black, or like a natural black or a matte black or whatever. And the same thing with white. You don't have to, if you want to add detail to the hair, you kind of don't want to leave. I'm picking up, like, the ink is picking up. Maybe this wasn't the best ink for this book. Maybe I should look at using a different ink if I'm going to do line art first. I know sometimes I see people do not line art first. They'll completely color in the color first. I'm like, man, you have a good memory. You have a good memory for where your lines go, because I would probably mess up. I would probably forget where my lines go if I did that. I'm going to create, like I said here, just a secondary highlight down here, like just across here. just so that we can have a little bit more shine on this hair. I'm going to try to be very careful around the line art so I'm not picking up like I did here. I'm trying to blend it out and it doesn't want to blend. Picking up that, like, the ink from doing my line art. So I'm trying to be careful with that. Now that I realize it is smearing, it is getting the ink, the wet markers are picking up and smearing that color. The ink from the line art. The pens. They are kind of like brush pens, like I mentioned earlier, so they are very inky. I should have seen that coming. Maybe a fine liner would have been better. Yeah, there we go. So we've got our base color, we've got our highlights kind of built in already, and now we have our color for shading. And you just kind of start with where you would naturally see shadows, right? Like we would naturally see a shadow underneath these like forward pieces. So I'm gonna just bring in shadow right here, right under these forward pieces. And I'm actually gonna kind of like pull in a little bit of that smear to kind of make it, to hide it a little bit. Like I said, there are ways that even when you make mistakes, you don't see them in the finished product because you can kind of work your artwork around it. You just got to keep going. So I just kind of worked that ink smear here in with the shadow. I pulled it from higher, and then I came back here and I pulled this area higher to kind of match the two sides. Great way to hide or to blend in a mistake, right? I'm going to create a little bit of a like cast shadow here from the food, from the Kringle. And I think it's time we added. This is my white roly gel pen. I think it's time we kind of tried to fix this. Because I did make a mistake here. This part should have all been hair, and I accidentally put the green from the clothing on it. So we're gonna do that and then try really hard not to touch it because I might smear it and I don't want it smeared. Okay, so that is bright white now, but it's at least better. Even though that should be slightly shaded, it's at least better than being green. And now I'm gonna come up here. Is this the right one? I think this is not. This is probably 38. It is 38. I need 42. 42 is the slightly darker. I'm gonna come in here with a 42 and just kind of like, the reason why I'm picking this side of the horn, by the way, and not the inside is because look here. I already chose this side, the left side of this horn to shade. And so I'm making my lighting ever so slightly. And I'm also not pulling it too far away from the source of the cast shadow because I'm making it ever so slightly. For the most part, the lighting is straight on, right? But I'm gonna pull it barely to the left. And I'm gonna do that kind of everywhere, just barely to the left. It's mostly direct light, like straight ahead. We're gonna pull this barely to the left to sort of explain this here. This helps reinforce that. And then down here, oh, that's all, I can't do that there because, right, that's not what that is. But we can also reinforce that when I'm dropping shadows on the shoulder pieces from the hand. And the shoulder pieces will also be slightly green. Because remember, this is like a V-neck. So this should come down kind of like this. And same thing on this side. So this part in between will be that brown color. And that makes these shoulders, this needs to be green, right? But it's kind of a big surface, so I'm gonna just go over here with the chisel. You know, so like another thing about like marker strokes is if you don't want a solid line for like ending certain drawings, you can kind of like, you can just kind of feather it out sometimes. Like you can just kind of pull and feather. That way you don't have to like end on like a solid. So I'm gonna try to blend these in a little bit. The higher or closer it gets to actual line art, but then as we come down where there's like no line art, I'm like blending it out a little bit, feathering it out a little bit. so that it doesn't have to have like all of these super fixed borders or boundaries. Same thing with the hands. Like, I didn't color these to the edge of the pages. I just kind of like feather them out a little bit. I do think I did. I touched the whiteout part. At least it didn't smear everywhere. It like covered a tiny piece of line art, but it didn't smear everywhere. Just gonna try to like wipe that off. Okay, cool. We're getting somewhere. I did forget the eyebrows. I think we should go in and do those. I think we need some eyebrow color. I like to make the eyebrows slightly darker. So if I have like a shade color that I'm using on hair, which I do for this one, I will usually go in with that color for the eyebrows rather than the base color, because I like it to feel just a little bit more, I don't know, like bold. I want the color to be a little bolder. But I did leave a little reflection. I didn't need to do that, but I did. I chose to. I wanted to. I'm gonna check real quick on this nail color situation. I think we need to know. Let's look. Let's try that again. There we go. So we don't see nails here, but maybe with a full body. Oh! What? No. Cam! Cam! Why didn't you tell me in the chat? Why didn't you say something? I'm drawing your character and I got the hands wrong? No. How can I fix this? How can I fix this? Okay. So first, the hands are dark. I can always layer dark on top of a lighter color. That's fine. The nails are way more claw-like. We can fix this. We can fix this. Pinkra 5! Hi! I didn't know it was you, Liquid Cloud. I didn't know you were Pinkra 5. Yes, everybody check out Pinkra 5's not channel, art fight profile and attack. Go bury them in attacks. This is our mission. Let us all attack Pinkra 5. Pinkra 5 has amazing characters. I love Pinkra 5's characters. I've drawn, how many years I've been drawing attacking you? Did I attack you first this year? I don't know. I might have. I might not have. I don't know. But I definitely make it an annual tradition to make sure I attack Pinkra 5. I don't let that one slide. It's coming. You're not getting away. There will always be an attack. Okay. But this, for real though, we've got a problem here. We have a nail problem here. I'm gonna start, first of all, now that I know that the hands are so dark, I might not want to use such a dark brown for the crisscrossed v-neck part. Mostly because I don't want these to become muddied. I don't want them to be kind of the same color. So let's go a little bit, I'm looking at this again, here. Let's go a little bit lighter on the shirt brown so that we can make sure, so that we can go darker on the hands. Because the nails are gonna have to come out like claws. The hands are gonna have to get much darker. So I'm thinking for the shirt, we're gonna try this mahogany color. So let's grab a mahogany marker. Mahogany. Let me pull my marker. I'm gonna pull my markers out so I can see. Where are you? Mahogany. Mahogany. Where did you go? There it is. Found it. Okay. Okay, so we have some corrective action to take here. We need to give the hands claws, and we need to change the color of the whole thing, like the whole hand. So, back to the drawing. This normal hand, it's gotta go. Before we change that though, because I do want to still use this burnt sienna, but I'm gonna use it for the hands now, we're gonna fix, we're gonna finish the shirt, I mean. So let's get the clothing with a little mahogany. Let's do that here. Let's get that done. Pinkra 5 says, LOL, you could just say this attack is the character without gloves. Oh wait, they have gloves? That's gloves? Are the nails part of the hand though, or is that like part of the glove? Because the nails being really long is a whole other situation. Because I drew like just really flat nails, and they look to be really long in the reference, like the full body reference. I knew it. I usually know better than to make that mistake. I usually know to check like the references for stuff like that. This might be because I'm on stream and I'm using so much of my screen for streaming purposes rather than just looking at my references. So that could be like a stream consequence. That might not be as much related to my process, my normal process. That would not happen. And it's not, I do sometimes catch mistakes midway. I'm not gonna say that they don't happen. They happen. I just usually catch them sooner. But when we get to the end of this, just like anything else, I will try what I can to make it as if that mistake never happened. We will try to make it as much of an invisible mistake as possible. And only you who are here for the stream will know. You'll be the only ones. Nobody else will know. Nobody else has to know. We could also just color them to add the gloves. Cam called them gloves in the chat. Yeah, they are. I do like the way I colored the hands because I liked the different like tone from the back of the hand to the front of the hand, but at the same time, the nails, my friends, the nails, we gotta do something about that because the nails are certainly not flat. They're certainly not flat in the reference. The nail, can I make this bigger? Bigger? Yeah. Let's be so for real right now. Them some nails. This character has got them claws. Winner Lulu, I'm looking at your profile. All your art is so pretty. Winner Lulu is here. Winner Lulu, hello! Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. You've been chatting for a minute. I just didn't see it. I see now. Winner Lulu says, hope you're having a good art fight season. I hope so too. Let's see. Also, same, got my iPad out and worked on an attack. Good. Great use of your weekend. Great use of all of our weekends if we have the opportunity. And the yes, Pinkra comedy crew. Yeah, everybody attack Pinkra. Pinkra 5 is the target of the day. Everybody go attack Pinkra 5. Do it. Go attack them. Everyone. Dogpile Pinkra 5. We'll pick a new target next stream, but this stream, that's who I am spotlighting. Let's all go get Pinkra 5. No mercy. No mercy. This is the way it has to be. All right, let's finish this shoulder because I almost didn't. I almost left that incomplete because I got distracted talking. So we're gonna finish that, okay? Also, I have to keep in mind too, though, that the food is also brown, and it's gonna have some dark spots to it too. So I just really want to be mindful not to muddy up the picture too much by making too many things a dark brown, because then we could lose a lot of the detail. Speaking of detail, I gotta like pay attention. There we go, to what you guys are seeing on stream. So, slide this down a little bit. These nails though, what am I gonna do about them? I feel like, okay, so if we want the nails to be white, here's one option. Option one is just do the gloves. I could like color this whole thing in with a dark brown, add the claws, nobody would ever know the difference. You're not gonna see the line art through a dark brown. It would totally sell. It would be fine. Option two, we leave the hands bare, we color in the rest of the picture, and then we go back with the gel pen, the white gel pen, and we make the nails like pointy, and they can kind of like come out and overlap the line art and the color and everything else that's underneath them. I kind of like that option because it is the one that changes the least pieces of the picture. I just don't know how effective it would be. I don't know if once we white out those nails, will it read as nails? Option three is my least favorite option, and that is leave it the way it is. Because I don't feel like doing that makes it very accurate to the character. I want to be as accurate to reference as possible. Now that I know their gloves, I think option two, we're gonna try it. We'll try option two, because we can always go back to option one, which is just color everything in with a dark marker and call it a day. We can always go back to that if I botch making the whiteout nails. That's my plan. I think that's my plan. So we're gonna do that. All right, so let's continue then with this because we need now to pick out some colors. So bring this all back in front of like our picture here. We gotta pick out some colors for this food. So let's look real quick at our reference again for the food. We're being so specific right now because I want this to be accurate to the character. I want it to represent the character the way it was intended and the way it was written. So I think our base color here on this food is actually a really light yellow. I think we can do that. We can do like a really light yellow. Like we could do primrose maybe, or a cream color. Let me pull my markers back out. Let's bring back out the marker case. Okay, I'm gonna lean this in front of me. You guys can't see it, but just trust me, just trust me. All right, so I've got my cards. I'm looking at these. We're gonna figure out what matches this drawing, or not drawing. We're gonna figure out what matches this photo of the food. And I'm thinking either powdery orange, because it's showing up yellow on my yellowish, like a really extra warm yellow. Powdery orange, because I don't want like canary yellow. I don't think that will go with this. Okay, so maybe the powdery orange, maybe, possibly. Again, we have all of those markers that we've already used and we're kind of done with. If we want like a true yellow, we can go with primrose, which is super pastel and super light, so I don't know, but we'll try it. We'll try primrose. We'll start with primrose because we can always build up, right? And then it goes from that like nice pale yellowy color to these like really crunchy, flaky brown colors. So it's gonna be more of a medium brown, maybe even like a yellow ochre. The yellow ochre seems like a really good color for that. And then we'll just pick one more that's a little tiny bit darker, but also still has, like, I feel like terracotta is a really good color for it, but it might be a little too dark. Potato brown might be good. The buttercup yellow is a nice medium too, besides the yellow ochre. So hang on, let's try to get these in order. Let's try this buttercup, where was it? Buttercup yellow. And there is potato brown as like our last one that we might not get to unless it's something really dark. But buttercup yellow is right here. Okay, I think I have my color blend. So I'm gonna put these down. You guys have seen enough of the reference. We can flip back over now to the drawing. And again, here is my color palette. This is like what I'm thinking for this this croissant-like food. That's cool, just vibing, says Winter Lou. Liquid says, Winter Lou, I'm pretty much looking at your profile. Your art is so pretty. I also forgot my character had gloves. Sorry, said Cam. That's okay. We're gonna make it work. We're not giving up on this. This is gonna be great. So we're gonna start, like I said, with the lightest color. So we're gonna start with primrose. I'm gonna look at this reference. And I'm noting that like this color, we're just gonna kind of like, we're not gonna touch the edges. We're just gonna kind of like dapple it in here, like this. And then at the top of these ones. Like that. And then we can mix in, I think we're gonna be a little bit more serious with this color. Just kind of like bringing that in, like around the lightest part, right? Like this. What do you guys think? Is it coming through? Is it showing nicely? And of course we can also try blending it out, but I don't know that I necessarily want this blended. I kind of like the scratchiness of it because it's adding that texture that we wanted. And then with this color, this is a little bit darker. Kind of want to come around and just sort of create these folds in here. Yeah. Is it perfect? No. But do I like it? Also no. No, I'm just kidding. I actually do. I like it. I think I didn't twist as much with the food as I should have though, coming around. I kind of like kept it uniform, which was not my intent. So then we have this color. I'm gonna just kind of, yeah, just kind of come in here with this. With the chisel and try to create like a uniform shadow, a little bit of shading where this three-dimensional kind of edge would be, you know, kind of like right here. But we're not going to end it there. We've also got the speckly bits, right? Like the whole thing is not just all that uniform. I'm also going to come through, genuinely like shadow this a little bit, create a little bit of a shadow. A little bit of shading. Especially under the fingers here. But what I was really trying to get at is like, I'm gonna speckle it. Because there is like some pieces, and it's not like totally uniform. It's not just like the shading is where the shading is. Like the crunchy parts are only on the edges. Like there's a little bit of flakiness all over, right? Like the flakiness isn't just at the edges, the outside edges. The flakiness was kind of dappled all over. So I want to try and include that, you know? Like create a little bit of that dappled flakiness there. And then if I want to blend it out, just come in again with this lightest color. Get everything kind of wet and smudgy, except for the line art. Hopefully not the line art. We don't want that wet and smudgy. And just kind of try to blend those parts together a little bit. And then I'm gonna come in again with this darkest color right around the bottom. Because I do want high contrast here. This is where I'm going to want that high contrast color. I feel like this isn't doing anything. Did I grab the wrong one? Buttercup yellow, I did. Potato brown. Where's the potato brown? Where did that go? This is it. No wonder it wasn't giving me the effect I wanted. It wasn't the right color. That's okay. We got it now. We have the right color now. You can see how that's already creating such a high contrast now, where I'm dropping that, because it's such a darker color to like everything else that we were looking at. And I can even create this drop shadow on the food from the fingers. So like this doesn't have to be light. Here it doesn't have to be light. Here it doesn't have to be light. All of that can be darker. And then I'm kind of like pulling toward the twisty bits because I'm trying to create this like darker spots. Like I'm almost creating triangulation here. Darker spots near where it twists. Yeah, I like that. What do you guys think? Winterloo, oh, that's nice. I appreciate that. I don't know if you're talking to me or Liquid Cloud, but yeah. Liquid Cloud says, raincoats, that's so fun to have so many people you know on there. Hope you have fun attacking them. My best friend says raincoats, and another friend plus your cousin are all on art fight. That is nice. I don't think I know anybody IRL that's doing art fight, but that's okay. I've gotten to know a lot of you guys, so that makes it fun. All right, so we have the food stuff. Now I'm gonna let it dry for a second before I try my solution to the pointy nails with the whiteout pen. But while it's drying before we go and make that make that move. Let's talk about the rest of this page, because this page is otherwise pretty empty. Like, we have the character slightly off center here, but then there's nothing happening back here in the background. And I also know, I wasn't trying to commit to a huge background, but I also know that, like, if we look back at this, by the way, how did I do? Like, now that you're seeing the reference again, how do you think I did? We can come back here to their Pinterest board for this character. I also do need to, once I have the whiteout pen out, I do need to do the design on the shirt too. Don't let me forget that. But we can look at surroundings. We can kind of like look out here and maybe consider doing something like this for background. I don't know that I want to put myself in a position to draw a really big background, complex background that's going to maybe potentially ruin the drawing if I get it wrong. But we could maybe do like just a slightly implied situation here. We've got like this castle-y thing going on here. Like, this would not be too hard, I don't think, to draw in the background, but I also just don't know if that's gonna balance or throw the character more off balance. This would be more complicated, the statue. But I could also kind of like just sneak this into the background, I think. I'm gonna try to sneak this into the background slightly. Like, super, super slightly. I hope I don't regret this. Do you guys ever do that? Do you take that risk? Or do you say no? Like, I don't want to risk it. I'm gonna risk it. We're gonna try to stick this statue in the, like, really, like, in the distance in the background. I don't want to, like, I don't draw too much attention to it. But I'm thinking, like, maybe we can just kind of, like, have it, like, this big in the background, you know? Like, from here to here. Where's that pencil? Like, yeah, just from here to here. So what if we did? What if we had, like, so there's, let me zoom in first of all. I'm still looking at the reference on my screen. Dang, it's not letting me zoom in. I will cheat. I will look to zoom in anyway. You cannot stop me. You can't stop me. Oh, one too far, one too far. There we go. All right, so it's holding, there's like a stick thing here with 1, 2, and then 3, like a thing like that. And all of this is in this statue's hand. So then we have, like, the hand comes up like this, and then the arm goes down like this, right? I think that's right. So we've got an arm here, got a head here with kind of a crown. So that means we want to put the body on. It's got kind of a high-waisted Roman-style dress on. Like this. Other arm is forward like this. And then we have our wings, right? Like, this character is a winged character, or this character. I'm saying character like it's character. No, this statue in the background has wings. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna give it its wings. Like Red Bull. Red Bull gives you wings, and so do we when we draw art that attacks. All right, so let's do like this. Now, I'm not going to try to do massive amounts of detail on this, remember. I'm trying to keep this kind of blurry in the background. So she's got her kind of pedestal here. There's an arch in front of it, like this. And it goes a couple of times until it becomes like an actual column. Like that. I'm being a little, like I said, I'm being sketchy, I'm being messy, because I'm thinking that this is just gonna be a silhouette, like I'm gonna fill the whole thing in with like a dark color. Or not a dark color, but maybe like like a light gray and try to blend in the pencil as much as possible to make it, you know, just not even have an outline. My goal is not to create line art for this part. My goal for this part, this statue in the background, is just have it be one solid color. So I'm just following sort of the outline of the drawing from, or not the drawing, this outline from this statue from what I can see. And then it kind of like, yeah, it kind of like does like this at the bottom. What is the, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Can you scroll down? Apparently when I zoom, I cannot scroll down. That's unfortunate. Okay, so again, very much just like an impression, the shape, right? We're just looking at the shape of this thing, like this. I don't want to be more detailed than that. That's all I want to do with this. So now I just have to color it in. Like I said, one solid color. I think like a medium gray will do. Not the hair color gray because that's just going to complicate things. I want to do, so hair color was 30 and 42 right here. So maybe we go, but then things that are further away in the background typically tend to be like a lighter color, like mountains that recede really far in the background. They tend to be like a really light, blurry, grayish blue color, right? So we don't want to like make it too dark. I could go with like a warm tone, but this whole picture was kind of cool tones with it. Well, actually the food is warm tone. Like, would we want to do a warm gray maybe? That way it can still be just as light, but not the same tone as the hair. Maybe we'll try that. Let's try warm gray 150, see what we get. If not, if we don't like it, we can always go darker. We can always go darker, but let's try that first. Warm gray 150, where are you? It's 200, which is probably too dark. 150. Okay, let's try it out. Cross your fingers for me, because this is where we get experimental, is where we take risks. Okay. Winterloo says, yes, I bet it is. Liquid Cloud says something that takes practice. What does? I like to make scenes, so I usually plan the background with the character. Yeah, when you're making a scene, I genuinely believe, yeah, you should even draw the background first, because we're trying to like bend a background around a character that's already on the page. Like if I was trying to draw from something like a building behind these, it tends to be warped, so it helps to draw that first, digital or traditional, sketch the whole background out first, no characters, add the character after. That's my personal opinion. I've tried it again and again and again, and it always worked better than me adding a background afterwards. That's just always been true for me. Now I don't mind that I'm adding this statue in the background now, because genuinely it doesn't like go behind the character. I don't think I'm gonna experience any kind of like warping from this. I think it's gonna be fine under the circumstances. And I do kind of like that. I think this is working out the way I wanted it to. So good for that. Good for that. How nice for us that that worked out. Of course, I'm not done yet, but overall, I like where this is headed. I like how it's looking so far. I like where it's going. I think I can go to like the bigger end now that I'm past the tiny stuff. And I think even for that like inner chamber, I could probably come back and shade that slightly to give it dimension so that it looks like there's like, it's casting shadow inside there, since it's recessed, you know? But overall, yeah, I like how this looks. And like I said, I didn't want to be too precious about this background piece. I wanted it to look like it was kind of in the distance, not something that this character is like standing at the foot of this statue. I wanted it to be far away. And that also is part of the reason why the scale is what it is. Potato brown, the only thing, not potato brown, warm gray, brown gray might be a good shading color for that. So let's grab the brown gray real quick. I know I said I wanted it to be one color and super flat, but I do want to get like sort of the recessed parts, a little teensy bit of dimension. So let's get brown gray. What number was it? E280. 280. E280, found it. Dropping markers now. Dropping it like it's hot. That's a millennial joke. Okay, E280. So yeah, what I was saying with this, with the E280, is actually I just kind of wanted to come in here to the inside of this recessed part. And just sort of like color that in, because that's kind of inside the column-y part. And then I can shade it out a little bit even still with this warm gray 50 by just kind of like, just again going over it with the lighter of the two colors and blending it. Just a little bit of a blend. And we can just sort of do that. And then the same thing down here. Kind of where this covers that up. And I'll just pull up from the bottom like, this is where like those fast feathery strokes make sense to do something like that. And then I'll just blend it. Yeah, easy peasy. We have ourselves a nice, lovely background. I was like leaning so far back in my chair to do that because I don't want to like push too hard. So I was putting myself further away from the book, trying to be extra careful. Yeah, there we go. So we have some food that is significant to this character. We have a background that is significant to this character, or at least the start of one. So I can actually just come in here now with like, yeah, with a little bit of green and a little bit of blue, sky and tree line. And the reason why I say that, because I had to look at the reference really quickly to make sure, like, is this true? Do I want to do that, or is it in the middle of a city, you know? But it looks like it's surrounded by green stuff. Like, there's definitely trees and stuff there, and then blue sky. So I think it'd be safe to extra simplify and just give ourselves a nice green, like, tree line, and then everything above that can be, like, blue with, like, gaps for, like, white clouds. Very simple, keeps the background easy, completes the picture. This is basically, yeah, this is my process for drawing traditional attacks. So let's go ahead and get that beautiful green and blue color we want. We can even do a little bit of gradient of blue and green. I'm looking here at my chart here, and I know that we've got like this bronze green shirt that still needs a pattern. I haven't forgotten. We will get that pattern, we will get those nails. Let's stick with it. I just want to finish this background because it's currently on my brain. I think like lighter, again, these are things, these backgrounds are in the distance. So like the lighter greens, maybe this yellow green and then the pale green. Let's try that. I just want to keep them really light, really simple. There's pale green. There is yellow green. Okay, those are my greens for the trees. And then a blue, like a nice, just soft blue. If I have enough turquoise left, I know I love to use this color, so it gets used up easily. But if it exists, if we're able to still work with that, we'll try it. And then I have this other, like really light blue, but it's a different, I think I bought this actually, I went to, I don't know, I went to like Michael's or Joann's or something, and I knew that I was using up this teal, like this super light turquoise blue. To the point where I think it might be used up. So I bought another one, another Ohuhu marker, and the caps are different. This one's super round, these ones are oval, but that's why I bought that one as sort of a replacement. So we'll try them both. I hope it's a good shade. I haven't tested it yet. In fact, we'll just do a little dot This is light minty blue. Do I have light minty blue anywhere on here? I have light mint green, but I don't know if I have a light minty blue. Let's check it. It's very similar to this turquoise blue, so I think I did well choosing this. So yeah, these are our colors. I'm gonna start with the greens. And I'm gonna start with the lighter green, the yellow green. Let's do this. Let's make ourselves, I'm gonna be super like just basic, like I'm just gonna wing it, right? Like I don't want line art right now. My background, I've decided I don't want to have line art on here. So this is what we're doing. We're gonna do that. And there, that's my line. That's my tree line. That's my horizon. I'm gonna add some dimension with this after we get in basically the color everywhere else. So I'm gonna come in here and we're gonna add all of this. In here. I'm genuinely having so much fun with this drawing. I don't know how you guys are feeling. How are you feeling? Like, it's time to check in. Have you guys drank water? I haven't, but have you? Don't do like me. Be better. Be better than me. Drink water. Make sure you're hydrating. Make sure if you haven't eaten yet today that you're eating something. Like, how are we doing here? Accountability check, people. Accountability check. Who's had their hydration? And no, coffee doesn't count. I have had coffee though. That's like the one thing I have had today. I haven't eaten, I haven't had water, but you better bet I had a coffee. But seriously, how are we doing? Are you hydrated? Are you fed? Are you taking care of yourselves? Let me know, okay? Accountability check. People. Liquid Cloud says I have water right next to you, but are you drinking it though? Are you actually drinking the water? That's important. Raincoat says I took a small sip of water a minute ago. Good, good, good. Keep it up. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. We love that. Let's keep doing it. Dragon Fox, I just drank water and ate pizza rolls. Good. You're eating and drinking. That's good. That's what we want to hear. We want to know that you guys are staying on top of your needs, that you're being fed, that you're eating, that you're not putting yourselves in any kind of predicaments. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna start with like really creating the contrast at the bottom. Here, like this. I'm just gonna get my corners, right? Like sometimes a great way to like create a vignette for your characters is really just to darken your corners, darken your edges. But then we don't want that to be all that we're doing. So I kind of like, I'm gonna make sure that we're meeting the needs kind of throughout. So I'm also gonna come in here and just dapple in a little bit here. I'm just dappling, like, just to create some color interest, some color variation, really. Just working on that variation, that color variation. And there with all our greenery. And now that we have the green done, it's really that simple, making this background. We can start doing our blue. I'm gonna start, because it's such a big space, I actually would like to start with an idea for like where my clouds are gonna be. I really do. I wanna like kind of think about that. I'm gonna put like a really big one behind this statue here. And maybe one like there. Here. There. And like there, I think. I think that'll do it. Super light with a pen, because again, I don't want to accidentally have line art. Like, that's not my intention. Might end up with the appearance of line art just from like actually outlining this with the pen or with a marker, but we'll see how it looks when all is said and done. This has a very different nib than like the original ones that I was using, but that's okay. I don't dislike it. Same brand, they're both Ohuhu. I was kind of surprised because I just assumed it would be the same, like the same look and feel, you know? But that's what happens when we assume things, right? We're proven very wrong. Not that that is a bad thing. It's okay to be wrong every once in a while. Okay, I think that's pretty good, cloud-wise. Let's go ahead and finish that in, and then we'll do our final touches, the final details, the design on the clothing, like the pattern, clothing pattern, and obviously those fingernails that we still need to solve for. Still need to figure out, still need to fix. I feel like you guys are getting so much of the top of my head today. Like, I'm like spending so much time angling my face toward this book that you guys are getting a lot of crown, a lot of head, a lot of the top of my head anyway. Okay, hopefully that's not where your focus is. Hopefully it's actually on your drawings or on my drawing on screen. Yeah, my drawing is on screen. I had to make sure I wasn't still looking at the reference on the camera. Okay, so we're gonna keep bringing this in. Hopefully it's not too streaky either, because I am using the chisel tip to fill in this really big space, because it's a lot of page to cover. But I'm genuinely excited for this one, because I feel like I'm proud of me. I feel like I did such a good job paying attention to like the reference material and really making a piece that is special to the character. It's like their favorite food, it's like their home, you know, showing a fixture of where they come from in the drawing. Yeah, I like this. I think I did well, and that's the kind of stuff I like to focus on when I can. It's not always possible, you guys know this. Not everybody gives you like a ton of bio for their characters, and not everybody has a ton of bio for their characters. Sometimes it's just like, I drew this character, I thought he looked cool, he's one of my favorite designs. That's cool, that's fine. You don't have to have like a whole backstory or like universe for your character. That's totally fine. But when you do have that stuff, it can also be a lot of fun for somebody to like use that extra information just to create something even more specific. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Yeah, I think it came out cool. Says Liquid Cloud attacks that reference the bio are always fun to receive. Yeah, exactly. I feel that way too. Oops, I went a little bit over like the cloud puffiness. Let's see if I can just kind of smooth that out a little bit. This is kind of streaky. I might want to go through a couple times, like just kind of like trying to blend it a little bit because it's looking a little streaky. Using like the round, like, you know, the circular motion with this, even though it's like the chisel tip, just to get like a little bit of a better blend because I don't want it to be streaky. Trying to blend that out a little bit. Less streakiness, more blended cloud stuff, sky stuff, more blendy sky stuff. Yeah, there we go. Are we doing well? I think we're doing well. I'm going to scooch the book down a tiny bit so you can see the top a little more. We don't need to see as much of the green because we're not working on the green right now. We'll scoot it back up when we're ready to like work on the shirt details. Okay. Backgrounds don't always have to be complicated, right? Like sometimes they're really simple. You can do a lot with a little. And I have an example of that too that I can show you. And it's this. I didn't do much here. There's like a horizon line. The ground is all just one solid green color. It's actually not. I blended it from a dark to a light, but they're so close together that you almost don't notice the gradient. Same thing with the street. Like I just made this like winding brown dirt road. And then some clouds with a little patch of blue sky up here. Like this is like the simplest thing I could probably draw for a background, but I like it. It fills the page. It makes the composition nice. All of these kind of like bend together to sort of point at the centerpiece of the piece, which is the 3 characters in the phone. So yeah, your backgrounds don't have to be overwhelming. They don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be hard. They can be really simple. These clouds are really simple. I just created like straight up storybook clouds. Like these are the kind of clouds you would see in like a child's bedtime story. They don't have to be complicated. The backgrounds can be really simple. We don't have to make it hard on ourselves to make it good. Winterly says, all right, my toddler woke up. Have a good stream, everyone. See you. Oh, okay. Have a good day, rest of your day, and good morning to your toddler. Or welcome back to the world of the waking, if they were just taking a nap. Goodbye, says Liquid Cloud and Raincoats. Have a good one, Winterly. We'll see you later. We'll definitely be around, so we'll catch you on another stream. We're not done, by the way. This stream is not the last stream of the art fade season. There will definitely be, at minimum, 1 more stream. So, if I'm not drawing your character on this stream, that's okay. There will be more, and there will be somebody else who gets picked and gets drawn live on stream. And even when it's not live, you're still gonna get that revenge art. Don't worry about it. It's coming. Won't come in order. I've made that, I hope, abundantly clear that I don't draw them in the order that I get them, because that takes a lot of the fun away from me, a lot of the control away from me. If I have to draw in the order that I receive, it can be a little less inspiring. I can do my best work when I can choose to draw the character at the time that I'm most inspired to draw them. So yeah, that's kind of what I think and how I work with Art Fight. I don't know what your guys' routines are. You can share them. Like, what have you found works best for you? Especially when it comes to revenge, because when it comes to revenge, it's like when you're just attacking, it's easy to pick a character you're inspired by, because that's the whole point of the attack, right? But what about when you're revenging? How do you, like, what works for you? How do you get yourself inspired? Is it just super easy? Like each time you open up the character page, something hits you with inspiration and you just are ready to rock and roll? Or do you have like a routine that works for you? That's my routine, is that I typically open multiple tabs that I owe revenge to, of like the profile of the person that I owe revenge to. I'll open like a lot of them, and then I'll go to their character pages and I'll just like have a whole bunch open, and then whatever one I feel inspired at that moment, when I'm like, okay, now I have time to do Art Fight, well, whichever one inspires me is the one I'm drawing that day. If I had to do them in order, it'd be a lot harder. And I'm like, well, this person attacked me first. I owe them first. Really tricky to make my brain work that way. Raincoat says, I honestly don't get to revenge a lot, because more often, I attack people and then get revenges back. That's a good strategy too. Be on the offensive. Be the attacker. Be the one starting the fight, you know, picking the fight. You can be the bully picking the fight on Art Fight. That's okay. It's like the one time it's okay to be a bully. That's also a very good strategy. Don't wait for them to come to you. You go to them. You find them, you go to them, you start the fight, you pick the fight. I think that's great. Dragon Fox says that revenges are harder for me, but if I have a good pose or idea, it ends up being easier. Whichever inspires me, I usually do first, because I don't go in order either. Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's just what I find works best for me. Liquid Clouds, usually revenge in order. I get mostly inspired by reading bios. I agree with that. A character without a bio feels a little riskier to me, because I don't know what they like, and then I worry, like, well, hopefully this isn't out of character. That was supposed to be a quote, by the way. I used my like whole hand, but I meant like this, but I had like the cap in my hand. yeah, I just don't want to draw out of character stuff. Like, what if the pose is out of character? What if they're a really shy character and I drew them like in a victory pose or something? You know, like a little bio helps to feel a little less nervous about getting it wrong. Because the more you know about them, I'm not saying I want to like read a whole novel, like, oh, this is like the main character in my book. I'm not going to go buy your book and read it just to be able to draw an art fed attack. But if you tell me a little bit about them, I can usually find a drawing, like a pose or a scene that I'm able to draw for you. Okay, all of that said, we finally got all of the sky filled in. Yay, victory on that. Cam says, I get ideas based on bios. Characters with no bio usually get a simple bust shot from me. Also depends on how tired I am. Yeah, that's true. No bio, sometimes the safest thing to do is just draw a headshot. Sometimes it's just the safest move. So I understand and I agree with like why you would do that. This is also technically just a headshot, but I mean, I did put a lot of the bio into it from this to this. So let's take some risks. I've got the whiteout pen. I've got the whiteout pen. Let's take some risks. Let's do this, okay? Man, do I want to start with the nails or do I want to start with the clothing pattern? I think I'll start with the clothing pattern because that seems the least risky. Let's do that. I'm gonna start there. So we have this pattern. Whoosh. This is a tough pattern to draw. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Have pity on me, okay, when I try to draw this. Do not, it's not like a digital. If it was digital, this is Cam? Cam was really, really nice to provide the pattern. That is super nice and would work great if I was doing this digitally. But because I'm not, we're gonna hand draw this. And I just need all the patience and also all the grace for when I eventually make something crooked or off center or do something funny with this pattern. Okay, we're gonna try to make this work. I like the bigger. I like how it's big. The pattern is really big on the shirt because that makes it easier for me than trying to do a bunch of tiny, like, repeating patterns. So we're gonna try that. Okay? Okay. Back to the canvas. All right. Here it goes. I'm gonna just shake that up a little bit. Make sure the ink is at the like tip of the pen, which it usually is. I'm gonna start with the sleeve here because that seems to be like, oh, it's being a little weird. Had to get the juices flowing. So we've got like this. You do that like 3 times. And then like a piece comes out here, another piece here, and we can kind of like do that back on this side. It's kind of how it looks. And then there's just sort of like this little circular spot, like, yeah. Let's do another V going down. And I think that loopy thing is also this part right here. So that's pretty good. I'm gonna just add another one here as if it goes like back behind there like that too. Let's try the centerpiece now. I think I'm ready and prepared. I'm prepared for the centerpiece, so let's do it. We've got, okay, so it starts like this. I'm gonna do that on both sides, right? And then it goes out. 1, 2, 1, 2, okay. So 1, 2, and then back down. All right, we got that first bit, so cool. Now it just goes up like that. Same thing down. And these loopy bits, like this again. We'll come up to the top and just kind of like on the sleeve, we're gonna do these in like these like V's that are kind of like layered inside each other. And then just one more right there. And then we're gonna build out, cause like this center part kind of like, you know, it spreads out. The music's a little bit spooky again, but it's fine though. Well, yeah, every once in a while we're gonna rotate those in, cause I have like one royalty-free YouTube playlist. I didn't like create different playlists for different moods or anything. So it's all over the place. I'm sorry in advance if anything gets like weird or funny. It happens, but that's okay. We'll get through it together. It'll be fine. All right, so we're gonna take this spot here and again, pick up our little V pattern. Same thing here. And that means we also do it here. And that means, again, the loops on either side of that. And that puts the V's again right here. Just this kind of like repeating pattern. And then a loop. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of nailing this. There is like a dash that comes like after the loop. So we'll add those little dashes. And then what? And then we just kind of like see the pattern like a little bit repeat towards the edges of like the outfit a little bit. I do want to have kind of like, I want to see some of these lines kind of come through here. And then we gotta do the other shoulder. And I think overall, and maybe it's not perfect, right? But I think overall the impression is there. Like the pattern appears to be there, unless you maybe look really hard for mistakes. Liquid Cloud says, honestly, you're doing the patterns really well. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm like trying really hard not to smear them too, because my fingers really wanna like accidentally smear this stuff, and that's no bueno, we don't want that. All right, so we have that, we have this part, and then we'll kind of do the same thing heading this direction. And why not create some triangulation here? Why not? There we go. I think that's pretty nice. And we'll just draw like something in each of those corners. Pattern is done. Now I gotta worry about these nails. We are like that close, seriously this close to finishing this drawing, but gotta dry it off. I don't want to smear it because I know if I like go in for these nails, I'm gonna smear all of that ink. I gotta give it a second. Gotta give it a second to dry. While I let that dry, I'm gonna go grab a drink of water. So I'm gonna put you on the BRB screen. I will be right back. right, we are back. I'm gonna turn the music down, and I'm gonna head back to this screen right here, because we are so close to done with this. We just have to fix some inconsistencies with the character's actual design, and that is the fingernails. The gloves are off, yes, but we still have to give these nails, I don't know if this is dry. Is it gonna smear? I'm still a little bit nervous about smearing it, but let's go ahead and try this. And my thinking here is that I can just make these nails really long like this, and then put a new outline around them, like with a black pen once I'm done. Well, once the nails dry again. It's like painting real nails. We have to let the polish dry, right? So we're gonna do that. And let's get this bottom one too. Same thing here. Long clawed kind of fingernails. This is why I love using the Rolly Gel pens so much, because really I tried using like a whiteout pen before, or like a whiteout, you know, those little like whiteout bottles that come with like a brush that kind of almost looks like a sponge, like a sponge tip, a square tip sponge. But it just kind of made my page really messy. And these whiteout pens, these like gel pens, just so much better. Like objectively, just so much better. I get such better results from them. I think we give it a couple seconds to dry. And then I can add like a new black outline to really kind of like make them look on purpose. And we'll be in a really, really good spot. Like a really excellent spot with this. I'm gonna drink this now that I went and got it. Now that I'm back, I turned the music down, but is it down enough? Let me know. What did I miss? Let's see, what are you guys saying? What's everybody's art fight username? Ask Liquid Cloud. Definitely drop those in the chat always. If you're on one of my streams, always feel free to self-promote your art fight profile name, or any art fight characters, and also let people know what team you're on, because sometimes that matters. Sometimes people care about which team they're attacking, so it helps to let them know before they even start looking up different links. Raincoats is Paddington. Like Paddington the bear. And also just saying Perry should maybe at some point check art fight. Why did I get attacked again? Is that, okay, let's go look real quick. We'll come back to this. We'll finish the line art on this drawing. And let's take a look. Let's look at art fight. Actually, I'll leave this up because I don't want to forget I wanted to draw this. But let's look here. Let's refresh. Let's refresh. Holy moly, now there's 17. There was 15 a second ago, now there's 17. We have a new Eli from Paddington. Speaking of Paddington, we were just talking about that. I was just reading it off in the chat. Paddington has drawn the glowy-eyed Eli. And who also has these kind of fingers, by the way. Yeah, look at that. The glow is so hard to do. I am so proud of you for doing this glow, because legitimately I struggle with this even though it's my character. Like, the glowing eyes are so hard every single time. I still haven't managed to figure out how to consistently make them glow. So spot on, you nailed that. Good job, good job. Also, the wardrobe, not an easy wardrobe. It's got like this big sort of like piratey coat with the open piratey shirt. The frilly pirate cuffs. Yeah, all of this. He's not an easy character. You did great. Finished this during the stream, haha, hope you like it. This was really fun to do. Love his design too. Hearts! Hearts! Thank you! I love it. And you created like this very like soft background with also like little streams of light coming through that. And particles of light over here, like particle dust in the light. You put a lot of effort into this. This is really nice. Oh, so good. So good. I'll write you a comment later. I'm not gonna write it right now on stream because you're right here. You're like watching me do it and I feel a little weird. But yeah, thank you. I will add it to my revenge list. Mwahaha. So cool. That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is a character from my art fight. Not my art fight. Obviously from my art fight. But no, what I was trying to say, that is a character from my webtoon. Gosh. Is it linked? I feel like it is. Let's take a look real quick. For anybody who does not know, I know most of you probably know, but for anybody who doesn't know, this is him. This is Eli. And see how complicated that outfit is? Good for you for drawing that. It's so tricky. He's from my webtoon Love Cursed Queen of Rogues. So if you like webtoons, it's in hiatus. Well, obviously, because we're doing art fight. I only have so much time, right? If I'm doing art fight, I'm not doing anything else. So while it's an art fight, this is in hiatus, okay? In hiatus, hang tight. When art fight's over, I'm gonna work on this again. So it's not dead. I know it looks that way, it's not. But yeah, if you like that character, if you like any of the characters you see like on my page, I'm just saying, there's a whole webtoon. If you like story, you like characters with a background, with story, they have that. They have story, they have backgrounds. All right, let me see real quick about something here. We're going to try and add an outline around these new whited out nails to make it look like they were there all along. We're gonna try to make this look as intentional as possible by adding these lines. That's it. That's all we gotta do. Just gotta come in here. As I was talking about earlier, like, unless you see it happen on stream, you might never know the mistakes that I make when making these attacks. I've heard people say like, wow, you know, your line art's so good and like solid and all of that stuff. Can't see the mistakes with the finished product. Because, you know, I will try to fix them, like just like this. I didn't know I made a mistake with the nails, but I'm not gonna just, if I can avoid it, I'm not gonna just accept the mistake. I'm gonna try to fix it. So, is that always possible? No, I'm not saying it is. I'm not like saying like, if you don't fix a mistake, you're wrong or I'm wrong. Sometimes it's not an option. You can't really force something if there's no way out. But I always look for a way out. I always look for a way if I've gotten something wrong to get it right. Almost done. We're almost there. Like that Disney song from Princess and the Frog. There we go. And hopefully, I was gonna touch this up. Hopefully that makes everything look better. So now what we can do, and what I sometimes will do, ooh, not with this, gosh, I can't believe I was about to do that with that, is I will come back in with this anyway, even when I'm not fixing any mistakes. And I'll just add little like highlights to things, like this. It's like small details, but sometimes those small details make big impact. They might not with this character because the color palette is already so like light. But sometimes, just sometimes, you know, it makes a difference. Not always, but sometimes. I'm just creating a little separation here and there. Add a few dots, you know, to this food. Maybe just to add a tiny bit more texture to the food. And the eyes don't have like a really good shadow on them. Do they need it? No. Do we want it? I don't know, do we? I mean, maybe. I'm not sure. But what I do like, I'm gonna try to pull this back, right? I'm trying to pull this back so we can see the whole thing at once instead of like having to cut off the top or the bottom. I don't want to choose. I want to see the whole thing. So let me try to hold it steady. Right? Now we can kind of see the whole thing. What do you guys think? Do you like it? How did I do? Let me know. You can rate me. You can rate me. You can give me an A through F letter. You can give me a 1 through 10 number. I don't know. But what do you guys think? I'm gonna like stop holding the camera up like that. But yeah, I think this one is done and ready to submit. Unfortunately, submitting is not as simple as just like clicking a few buttons on the computer. I actually need the phone that this is recording on in order to take a picture of the drawing to upload it. So I can't really do that right now live without ending the live. I think it came out great, says Liquid Cloud. Dragon Box Stars, I like how you added the food and the background. Thank you. Appreciate it. Cam says 100 out of 10. That's amazing to hear. Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. All right, so that really is it for today because I have been streaming for 3.5 hours already. I think we lost like the first 20, maybe 30 minutes in fixing technical issues with the camera. Hopefully we won't have to go through that next time we do a traditional stream. But I will go back after this one's done uploading, like after YouTube is done doing its thing, right? Like has to process the video. I will go back and edit out that first portion of the stream to fix, well, not to fix, but to make it watchable, right? For people watching the playback, I want it to be watchable without having to sit through all that like we did originally. That's it. That's all I've got to add. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you're having a great art fight. If I owe you revenges, it is coming. It is coming. You will not be left out. Trust me. I mean, knock on wood, right? Like, I have a wood desk. I'll knock on that. I've never had to end an art fight season without being able to revenge anybody. And I've been doing this for 10 years. So nine years of perfect record of revenging everyone who attacked me. You get at least one drawing from me. If I started the revenge like if I started the fight, if I attacked you first and then you draw me back, I already drew for you. So I don't mean that, like I don't mean like, oh, you'll at least get one revenge if I already drew you first. I mean that every person who attacks me will get at least one drawing from me. And then if I'm caught up, then I might do like actual revenge chains, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's everything, guys. Dragonfox says, have a good art fight, everybody. I agree, Dragonfox. They got 2 attack sketches out during the stream. Way to get some work done. Like, I love it when we draw together. That's why the title says draw with me in it. I like it when we can hang out while we all work on our art fight together. And we'll do it again. Hello, Marshmallow Muffin, coming for you today, Perry. Oh no! I feel like that's a heads up. That's a warning. I look forward to it. And also I look forward to revenging you. I'm gonna quit before I make any more like stuttering mistakes. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Keep an eye on the channel, subscribe so that you get those notifications when I'm streaming again. And I'll see you next time. Bye!